Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids, family. This is going to be one incredible show. All right, before we bring on our featured honorary guest, Brother Panic, we're going to do our invocation. I recommend that all of the audience now and in the future get you a glass of water because you're getting ready to get deconstructed down the wormhole of the Matrix. So let us begin with the opening. Let's see, here it is right here with Brother Baraka making the call.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Okay, family, I want to say thank you for being here on the platform. Thank you for being born, my brothers and sisters. Thank you for being alive. Thank you for surviving the airport adolescence of our youth. Any landing that you can walk away from is a good landing, regardless of how toe up from the flow up the airport might be, or the plane in the situation with our families may be. So I'm going to ask for the presence of our ascended master ancestors. But before I begin, many of you are Jedi's awakening. So I say, I am in me. I am in you, the listening audience, now and in the future. We individually and collectively say, yes, I am forgiving all souls in past lives. And yes, I ask that all souls in past lives to please forgive me. And yes, I am forgiving myself in past lives. Yes, I am forgiving all souls in this life. And I ask all souls in this life to please forgive me. And most of all, yes, I am forgiving myself. As we say, Ashe, Aho, Donada, Wado. I ask the presence of ascended Master Simeon Toko, the latest Christ born in the Congo, called forth an army of muscle bound, bulletproof black angels that chased the terrorist Belgians out of the Congo. I asked the presence of Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, who founded the city of Tuba. Also, hungry lion proof, bulletproof, flew through the air with Simeon Toko that show us we are divine beings. We are the gods of yesterday, today, and tomorrows to come. Sheikh Ibrahim. We call upon ascended masters, great divine director, master of Himalaya, all the ascended masters of Atlantis, Lemuria, into the hollow of the earth, all ascended masters who live through the crystal realms in the earth's interior. I call on Nikolai Tesla to be with us tonight. I ask that gatekeeper of Mount Shasta, Saint Germain, be with us on this platform. Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, call upon Melchizedek. Enoch the Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. I ask in the name of love that all of our friends, family, and loved ones be under the electronic blue flame protection of Archangel Michael. He is only a request away, whether verbally or silently. Archangel Michael, will you protect all our family, friends, and loved ones throughout the earth's surface? Angel of healing, Archangel Raphael, be with us. Archangel Uriel, angel of knowledge and enlightenment, be with us. Call upon the Buddhas of the earth, the Krishnas of the earth. Call upon White Buffalo Calf Woman, Quetzalcoatl. Call upon Nat Turner, John Brown, calling upon Frederick Douglass, Mary McLeod Bethune, calling on Shroom Master, Dr. George Washington Carver, Booker T. Washington, calling upon Shroom Master, Kalindi Aye, calling upon Shroom Master, Dr. Sabi, calling on all the Shroom warriors of the Zulu Nation and countries throughout Africa, Australia, South America, Central, North America, all the warriors of consciousness who apply the entheogens. Be with us, support us. Ashe, Aho, Donada, Wado, Amen. And so it is. All right, y'all. I'm going to tell you, my brother, Hank,
Hmm.
is literally one of the most profound occult scholars I have ever had the honor of meeting in this live stream.
The truth.
Oh, he dropped on me a gift of his book, and I'm gonna put this up, uh, and then we're gonna move forward. Let me put that book up here so that folks can see.
Bring Panic Center.
Look at this book, man. This is the one we're gonna deal
Mhm.
with tonight. The Origins of Occult Civilization, Volume
Mhm.
1. And I believe
Mhm.
500 pages thick. So he didn't flip this overnight. And then
Mhm.
here's the back of the cover of the book right here so that you can freeze frame this video and read the details. But what is most profound, family, about this book I have in my hand? I want to show you. I got all the highlights. Hold on, let me just go full screen for a second. Look, I got all the highlights. This is what, if you're not into psychedelics, you better read this book. This is a psychedelic journey of deconstructing how jacked up Hollywood made us. And if you like movies, like kids, like candy, you better read this book because you've been jacked. Your natural state of being has been jacked, whacked, and made bent and twisted by an agenda that is not of nature. It is of the movie Hollywood, Hollyweird folks. So we have tonight this esteemed scholar, a cult lecturer, and listen, he's a Taurus, y'all. He is literally going to rip into what we accepted as movie fallacy. He's going to tear up, rip up, deconstruct, and hopefully liberate your rabbit ass minds because we've been mind fucked from the cradle, unfortunately, almost to the grave. Now, family, all of you, what I do ask before we begin, is that you post what part of the world you're listening from, because it brings me joy. Brother Panic, I usually like to have post up people's acknowledgments and thank you to the featured guest and also where they live. Is that all right, brother?
Sure.
Okay. So, family, uh, I want to give a special acknowledgement to my shadow brother Baraka. It's good to see you tonight, bro. Thank you for the opening. And our sister, Miss Bliss, she is traveling the cosmos in the sense of speaking. So she won't be with us tonight, but she'll be with us in the near future. So, Brother Panic,
Yes.
you outdid yourself, bro. I'm gonna be in this for a while, man. I'm gonna be pushing this book every day, and every show, because I know so many of our folks love movies. When we was kids, where did we go? Go have popcorn and have popcorn and go to the movies. Not
We
real
love being under the spell.
and under the spell. Family, I'm going to say after reading part of Brother Panic's book, we have been mentally raped.
Mm.
We have been violated in the most diabolical, evil way imaginable. And almost every person that you know in Hollywood of color
That's right.
had to be bent over and
That's right.
literally, psychologically, subliminally, objectively raped and fucked.
And sometimes physically.
Oh yeah. So that you can lose your sense of importance and well-being. And all the sisters in the audience, you have been conditioned from the cradle to be an arrogant, evil, non-conforming, unfeminine in Hollywood. So, and it's not your fault. You've been taught to have babies without a husband or father in the home since the 60s. Actually started in the 30s, as soon as they got movie realists going. You've been taught, sisters, to hate the black man and pick up. You got me fired up. I gotta calm down. You got me fired up. This book here, family, you better get this and read it to your kids. All of you brothers, whether you priests.
You're gonna need $300 if you go on Amazon.
Oh yeah, don't bother with Amazon. Go on Occult Lectures and order it directly from the author. You have, if you're doing rites of passage for men or women,
that's right.
Men or women, this is a must read for men and women, so you can realize what has been going on in Hollywood and how you've been conditioned to be defiant for the purpose of feeding the prison industrial complex. Welcome to the show, Brother Panic.
All right. What's going on?
Man,
Glad to be here. What's the deal?
I had to go wash my armpits after reading your book, man. Straight talk.
Gotcha.
Right? So let's start. What inspired you, bro? Oh wait, you got music here. When do you want to? Whenever you give me the cue, bro, I'll play it.
I thought we was gonna do, an intro, give them something to groove to before we got into it.
You want me to do that with the groove? I could do it right now. Did you create this music, bro?
Yeah, this is the stuff I made.
All right. I didn't even know the brother is a music writer, producer. Here we go. Oh, wait. I gotta start that from the beginning, right? Did I start that from the beginning?
Should be some intro. Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. I didn't hear it.
Okay, let me hear it. 271 people in the like. In the chat, come on, give us some like. Show your love to Brother Panic. Georgia, in the house. Tell us where you're from, family. Tell us where you're listening from. That's funny. Let us know if you can hear us, family. That's a nice bass line, Brother Panic. I like that. You could almost roll skate to this.
What is ready playing? Yeah, all right.
All right. Now here's track 2.
No, this is the same one.
Oh, this is the same one. Okay.
Yeah. We play this.
Huh? What'd you say, bro?
Yeah. We stopped. We good. We
Okay.
heard
What about part 2?
the other song we'll play later. Get
Okay,
it.
we'll play it later.
Play it
All right,
later.
So I'm going to ask you right now, bro.
Yes.
What inspired? Oh, let me bring everybody back to the front.
All
Put
right.
you up here, man. I'm gonna get down at the bottom of the screen here. Let me put myself up over here. What inspired you to write this epic book, man? What?
This is my first book. I have a second book out that's out currently. That's actually current. I just did a book. Yeah, that book. The book 7. What is it called again? Funny
7
is,
Laws of Dark Power, Volume 2.
Yeah.
Self
they
mastery.
usually inspired
Panic.
names, so I'll be forgetting them. It's so retarded.
Man,
But
let me tell
I
y'all,
wrote-
family, this is almost 600 pages of writing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know what I had noticed about your style, Brother Panic? You write the way you talk. So it's almost
Yeah,
like,
I would say in the second book even more so, because after I got the first book out the way and kind of knew I could do it and it was accepted, it became easier to write the second one in my own voice. The first one was more of my intellectual voice, but I still think I got some great points across that were necessary and really important. I think I was told spiritually, uh, early on, I can't remember the year at this point, that the only real effective thing that's active, that's actually working against us, is the movies, the constant mind control of the movies. And one of the things that I realized was, you know, all the complaints we had, chemtrails, uh, GMO, vaccinations, HARP, and the shit just goes on and on down the line. It just occurred to me, if any of that shit was working, they wouldn't have to have so much. They only would need one thing if something was working. Nothing works because if you study even further, you get to understand melanin is actually very adaptable. It's constant changing. It's the substance that of even before this place was born from an earlier world. And that world is based upon constant change or chaos, not this static understanding that we have. And that constant change in this place makes you creative, makes you who you are, makes you that dynamic being that's always in constant motion, spiritually, if you understood, physically through our creativity, but spiritually through our alchemy and our ability to get into the new. How it manifests is through trends, through slang and things like that, is that we are in the actual mix of constant change. So what they would have to hit us with is something that is constantly changing to truly have any form of control.
Wow.
Or to keep. So the only thing that really does that most consistently, I should say, is movies. And it's back-to-back mind control at before COVID on a weekly basis. I mean, I even go into what they do with love stories and then our lack of them. And I even show one of the greatest love stories we ever had on planet Earth was Coming to America. This is stuff I have to remember. Coming to America, it was perfected. Not only was she not a bum in America, she was actually a princess of America by America's standard, about to marry solo little guy, and still was rescued and taken back to a fairy tale world to live happily ever after. I even loved the second Coming to America. Everybody hated it, but you can't make a better movie. So I think it was a celebration of the first movie. If you looked at the second movie as a celebration of the first movie, then it became okay to me. But ultimately, he got punished severely for that.
Wow.
He got sued by some random newspaper man who said he wrote, that was his script,
Yeah, I was reading that.
and they considered it a flop, along with his double hit, the Harlem one, where he outsmarts the white guys. And I remember apologizing for those movies on HBO, and then going back to another 48 hours and all the rest of the crap. And then it became cultural icons. This because it's such a cultural icon. Not only is it entertaining, funny, and all the rest of that crap, but that it's actually a true love story that we are absolutely starved of. You can't count Loving Basketball and Love Jones and all the rest of this ridiculous one-dimensional crap. Loving Basketball, he doesn't go live to be happily ever after. He sits on the bench while the story just unfolds. And while you have, and I'm trying to go memory from the book, stories like Forever Young, which is the Osiris story. What's his name? From Lethal Weapon, the racist. Mel Gibson. He where he comes back from the dead, Ghost, where he's in the spirit world and it shows that there's love that exists. You
And
got
the
all
afterlife, yeah.
afterlife love stories. Fucking Lake House, where they're sending mail across time and shit. The astronaut's wife and all this regular crap, and your ass still fucking hustling with Bill Bellamy and shit in some old fucking stupid ass story in South Central or some shit. Best Man's Wedding. Like, you make Best Man's Wedding, they still make it. Then now they got a fucking sitcom about the shit. We can't expand past these small ass concepts of love, because that's mind control, to keep you out of that, to make black women and black men for that matter believe this is something that's not yours when it's your actual birthright. It's who you are. We are the primordial couple. So they move it. The most important role they can use in media is to put themselves as the ultimate love story. And when Hollywood was at its prime, you would see a love story or two every week involving them and none with you. And you know, your story was always sad. You know, Spike Lee is the worst. He's boule royalty. That goddamn More Better Blues with Denzel. He's a jazz singer with his mouth getting all fucked up. You know, it's just ridiculous. Wake up after wake up stupidity that we have. But the key is, which I found, and I go through thoroughly in this book, is they're actually using a template to stick it to us. And that template I found and decoded to be still the Willie Lynch letter.
Yes. Let me show. Family, you got to get this book. Here's the front page. I mean, the front cover. The Origins of Occult Civilization, Volume 1, Hollywood, Brother Panic. Here's the back of the book. And then I took some excerpts from the book and look at it. It tells you how they use. Go ahead, Brother Panic. Talk about that template.
Okay. So the Willie Lynch letter, you know, and I got this out the way and I addressed it. You know, there's this controversy. Is it real or was it fake? And such really wrote it. It doesn't matter. I think the key has always been for that, is it true? And that's an absolute. It is absolutely true. And it is a mind control agenda. If someone was making it up, they made up a mythology about a true to fact reality that can be applied on many levels, which is what true mythology is. So the Willie Lynch letter, whether history or mythology, still applies and still is a methodology for controlling and creating slaves and maintaining them. So if you physically cannot do the Willie Lynch things, psychologically it's just real. I know in your basic metaphysics they tell you, and if you haven't know, your mind or your subconscious can't differentiate between that which you call reality and what is actual reality. So if your subconscious mind believes it, it is real. So if they subliminally attack you with a Willie Lynch letter, it is not only as valuable, maybe even more valuable than them doing it physically. And that's what they've been doing by inundating you with image after image of Willie Lynch characters throughout movies, through the black man and in our role as inferior, the black woman as her role as independent woman, you know, to the left shit, and the white man as his superior intellect, prowess, sexuality, and his ability to love his woman and rescue his woman down to the scary movie. So these images I felt we needed to deal with in one sitting. And every single black man in Hollywood I addressed in that book. If he's not in that book, he didn't exist yet, or didn't just, I ran out of space, because everyone can be found doing something. I gave it a star system. So 5 stars, they had a dress. I can't remember how I did it, but it went all the way from it was things showing your ass. We
Hmm.
also used it. I shouted out Dr. Frances Cress Welsing and some of her work from the ISIS papers in terms of what it symbolically meant to show your ass in a movie.
Hmm.
You know, that's the slave thing. The same way, what's her name? Uh, Cameron Diaz, the white lady. She walked in the football movie with Jamie Foxx. Uh,
The longest yard.
no, any given Sunday,
Any
where
right,
she
right, right,
walks
right.
in, she walks into the locker room with all these naked black men as
Right,
if she was at a slave auction.
right.
So it's symbolically meant to make you understand it. And Oliver Stone is no stranger to it, or he's not playing with it. For instance, if you watch Alexander the Great, symbolically of Alexander taming that black horse was symbolic of him being able, or the chosen spiritual one, to tame the black world. And so Oliver Stone is aware of that. And so when you see him doing that in a movie, it's not by mistake or just looks good on paper. They're doing it by design. They're trying to send psychological imagery to keep
Mhm.
you in your place.
And speaking of that,
Yeah.
look, family, I still have this up so that you can go full screen, and I'm going to read, if you, in case you listening through a phone, Black Man. And this is written by our author, our occult scholar and musician, Brother Panic. He must not be seen as the alpha male.
Mhm.
This is called in Hollywood the leading man. Though we may call him leading man, and he can play a leading role, we must at some point submit to a high white authority, or we must feminize him. He must have been feminized at some point in his career to make it to the leading man or to the major role status. This would include a movie with him in a dress, showing his ass, kissing another man,
Buck broke.
submitting to white supremacy or subliminal feminization. They also must show him as needy and dependent, all slave traits manifested in him subliminally.
Mhm.
Any of these things will do to line up with the Hollywood Willie Lynch agenda. And
No
here's the
doubt.
black woman. I'm Brother Pank. Can I
Yeah.
read the black woman?
Sure. Yes, sir. Go for it.
She must not be shown as the epitome of feminine energy. This role must and always go to the white woman. Whenever she's presented as a beauty, there will always be a white woman of greater or equal beauty for her to live up to. We
Mhm.
must never show her we must never show her opposite a black leading male as an equal. Savage sex is okay, but showing her in love or making love is slim to none. We must at some point in her career show her as an independent woman. She can be the strong, black, independent woman with a weak or no good man or no man at all. All right. So I got more, man. I took pictures. Panic.
Damn.
This is literally, family. This book is a lobotomy to what
Mhm.
you think is good for you and your children to watch. Single mother with many kids whom she tries to keep in school and out of jail from different fathers. She'll have the I don't need no man attitude. Yo, that's so thick in the conscious community, Hotep
Yeah.
community, Brother Panic. Mothers with multiple fathers and saying they don't need no men. And nobody checks them.
Mm.
Nobody. Playing opposite as the love interest with a white man or maid or whore. She can also help others find love. Black couple. They must not be shown together as a synchronized, balanced couple. In Hollywood, it's called the love story. We must never show them as the primordial couple in a movie living happily ever after. We can show relationships between them if it involves grief, past baggage, problems, trials, and tribulations,
Right.
everyday struggle, and non magical love. With this kind of love story, you walk out of the theater feeling not satisfied they will be together forever. Hollywood must maintain on screen the imbalance between the two, which was laid out in 1712 by Willie Lynch. If they do end up together in the end, you would have spent the entire movie going over their differences before you get to the basic, cheap ending of love. Woo! That's better than any psychedelics I ever took
That's powerful.
Damn. That's a
No,
that's that's saying a lot.
because
no, that's powerful.
I see in the psychedelic realms that the racism permeates anyway, brother
Mm,
Panic.
Right.
This is
Right.
how deep the programming is, and that's
mhm.
why this is crucial in 2023 for us to be up on this.
Right.
Psychedelics don't break the racism. It may lighten the heart a little bit. It may help you detox, but you got to get into the nitty gritty. I even got color codes in this book. Let me pull up one. Willie Lynch entrainment, entertainment. What's entertainment, brother Panic?
I
That's
think
a hell of a
I
word.
think I may have got that from either Phil Valentine or Bobby Hemmett. They used to say that all the time. Entertainment. It's of course while you believe you're being entertained, you're being
Mhm.
trained. Tyler Perry is a
Wow.
great example of that. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying?
mm.
This Christianized training, this this taking you down this Mr. Brown path of nothingness to non-awareness, while that image is permeated all throughout the world. And then we say on the other hand, how come we can't get business in the world? No one takes us seriously because the rest of the world believes that you're Mr. Brown. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm,
Tyler Perry
mhm.
going. Did you see Tyler Perry at this Native American ceremony?
No, I
No.
see him in your book.
Oh
I got
no,
pictures.
fuck that monkey.
Go ahead.
He's in a straight Native American drumming, dressed in his drag, doing
No.
Medea shit. Look it up. It
Damn.
is. It. I don't even know how it happened. They're celebrating him too. They're
Mm,
all in their feathers,
mm, mm.
celebrating. He pulls out his Medea gun.
No.
For that to happen today, you have to have been trained. Because I
Mm,
can't even see how that adds up as any form of entertainment at this native ceremony that they supposed to have. It's supposed to be so sacred.
right.
This nigga in a wig dropping it like it's hot.
Oh my God.
So he that's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? That's entertainment.
Mm, mm, mm.
Before we got to get to the gutter, what you got in here, and
Okay.
then you have remedies, and that's what I appreciate about you, bro. You
Oh
put
yeah.
remedies in here in this
All
book.
day. All day.
All right.
So hold on. Let's dig into it deep before we get there.
All
So
right.
I know we just started, but brother Panic, earlier you mentioned trends as a vehicle by which the agenda is delivered to us on the ground. Could you give us an example of how that works?
Expand on that question more. Trends.
Well, you, just in terms of what you were speaking earlier, and you were saying that that the trends are one of the vehicles by which
Oh, okay. I know what
we end up falling into the nigger trap or the slave trap.
well, it's two things happening. Spiritually, trends are how we stay in tune with universal reality. We're just not aware of it anymore. We just call it the slang, fashion, the new dance. You
Mhm.
ever notice how, especially in the 70s, 80s, a dance will come out on the West Coast and niggas is doing it on the East Coast? A fashion thing or a slang on the West Coast, East Coast. Still little differences between Snoop Dogg and DMX, but it's the how are they rapping, we're rapping, or if you take rap as a whole, anybody who's old school, as it emerged in the Bronx, it immediately emerged in Brooklyn as well, immediately emerged in Harlem next, which was some of the hardest living. Then the next phase became Queens, which was not as hard as the rest of them. these trends that we have are actually given to us through sunlight and through your melanin with ancestral communication. That's why when you go into the sun, you get darker. We're not the sun people, we're the melanin people. If you didn't have melanin, you'll be getting fucked up by that sun. So when we go in the sun and the melanin comes to the surface, that vehicle of light is giving us information. We're downloading angles, if you will. And these angles makes you walk like this, make LL talk like he did, made Run DMC stand like this, made everybody do that. So now understanding we move in form of trends, because this is actually quantum communication. This is how we speak universally to each other, but we have no purpose with it no more besides selling it in rap videos and shit like that. And what we need to do is understand that they understand that too. So if you look, they do more of our trends. With Hank, put everybody's picture up. It's easier for me to focus. It looks like I'm just talking to myself.
Oh, you ain't talking to yourself. You got like over 500 folks out here, man, listening to you.
It's easier for me to answer.
All right, yeah, you got a packed house. Special shout out to all of Brother Panic's audience, all the audience globally. Because I remember back in the day, I was like, "Who are you?" People from everywhere, even came from Alaska, But
yeah.
Go ahead and keep going, brother.
Yeah, I see a few people. Yeah, I see a few people. I see my man Gas Drawers. I see some familiar faces. Everybody will shout me. I'm looking in the chat now, but they also understand this is how we get communications. The movie K-Pax was about that, how we travel on light. So the sun is actually a vehicle. Light has always been a vehicle. So that vehicle is actually communicating with the melanin. That's why when you go in the sun, you get darker. The melanin is coming to the surface to get a universal message. When you become conscious, the sun from your chest radiates, the eye in your third ventricle, which is actually receiving light from your heart. It's looking downward while these look outwardly. So this is the inner sun, or the Amen Ra, or the hidden light. When you become conscious, you receive your light from here. Those who ain't conscious, the Christians, need to go to fucking cookouts so they could dance and do the trend. So when you become the Christios and that light comes from within and the heart starts to radiate, what begins to happen is you move out of the trend mode. That's why you'll hear the occultists, myself included, always say you have to divorce yourself from human thought. You're moving away from humanity. Humanity receives this information from the sun. And this is why white people weren't considered humans or light people or light man, because they don't receive message from the sun. They can't receive it. There's nothing that they don't have enough melanin to come to the surface to get into the trends. So they wait for us to give it to them.
Yo, we seen that in ceremonies, right, Baraka?
Yeah.
We seen that in ceremonies, bro.
Yeah.
When the brothers and the sisters would come into the ceremonies, and I ain't talking about no popcorn ceremonies, family. I'm talking about some serious entheogens. What the brothers and the sisters would see, the other people wouldn't see.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen plenty of examples in many different areas where there's a whole different thing. My wife Khadijah used to do massage, professionally at one point, licensed and all. And then she said, she worked at these spas. She said, niggas versus white people, just the energy, because it's an energy transfer of these massages.
That's right.
She said it was like touching people. And she said it was consistently, no matter how many muscles they had. She worked at sports places. So everyone was both big muscles. She said white people were invisible, touching them. I mean, on so many levels, I can go there, no more than it's just obvious. You know what I'm saying? Everything we've observed thus far in every area they exist. They can't even stand you across from you, look you directly in the eye without blinking constantly, because they're looking at direct light. So that direct light is actually what they wait for us to act and react to. They watch our trends almost closer than we do, because we think our trends are just what we do. They watch it because they know we're getting universal messages. They watch the conscious and they watch the dead people because the trends are what they actually address. So you'll see a lot of these movies, and we always think it's cool when the white boy does our shit, yay, some shit like this. Or if a white boy said peace, we'd be like, yeah, boy, you know what I'm saying, doing our shit. You know what I'm saying? Most dead people would do that, and that's because they are aware of it and they watch it. So movies have the ability to address that because they're constantly writing and refreshing the story. Vaccines is no new story. You either go for it or you don't, or they have to create a pandemic to get you interested again. You get what I'm saying? A movie, all they have to do is keep making stories that seem like it's the next cutting edge. And
Now, with some of the stuff that you're saying about the movies, specifically the black actors, I think that Robert Townsend kind of like threw the gauntlet down with the Hollywood shuffle back in the days. Like, yo, don't take these roles. You ain't got to put on a dress. You ain't got to be the slave. So, I mean, would you agree with that? I mean, is that where you come from?
No. First of all, Robert Townsend's full of shit. He got blackballed because he didn't play the Hollywood game, and not because he did that movie. That movie was just the era, because he has done sellout movies. First of all, he did that movie Holiday Heart. Let's keep it real, where he put Ving Rhames in the dress the whole fucking movie. Disgusting. And then he did another movie where he advocated because black kids couldn't figure it out. We just kill them all. He became a vigilante, like he was trying to do the movie Charles Bronson did, where he
Vigilante.
The vigilante movie he did for them, Death Wish.
Death Wish.
Black street hoods. So he tried to get back in the game because Hollywood had an agenda. I just did a whole lecture where I found out and decoded all the movies from the 90s. I wish I would have had this information for this book. And there what, like, you know, when I asked friends who were master decoders, you ever get anything from the hood movies from the 90s? They would be like, only that they shouldn't have did it. But then I showed, and like I said, it's detailed, it's over 6-7 hours of every single hood movie from 90s, that there was a boule agenda throughout them about the shadow self, and they use it as tools to train politicians and everything about black aggression in the hood, about the shadow being the dualistic nature of anger versus your dark and light side. So they are absolutely aware of it, but Robert Townsend never did that movie. I'll show you how all the black ones submitted one of those movies for that. For instance, A Menace to Society. Watch it again. Old Dog didn't exist. Old Dog and Kane are the same person. That's why it's Menace to Society. That two is the one. And then I go throughout.
I saw you drop that about the Wesley Snipes G Money in your last video.
Wesley Snipes didn't exist throughout the movie. I mean, to the point where it's almost scary each time Wesley's talking, G Money's in the side, like doing the move as if he's the one talking. Like when you could see it with those glasses, you see a whole different reality. Goddamn, even in the 90s, the whole movie Hustle and Flow, which looked worthless, empty, and stupid in a modern day Mac, is really about dreaming. And some of those scenes didn't exist. It's his dream. And if you watch it, they cleverly edit where it becomes a dream sequence and real life. When he was in jail, it was real life. He was done. He shot a dude. He's like, well, I'll get out in 3 months, and no one said anything. I'm like, yo, and then in the end, the tagline, and in the end, he said, everybody needs a dream. I'm like, damn. But so what that tells me that there is a boule agenda. It first came to me a year ago watching School Days, Good and Bad Hair. Listen closely. I'll make this real quick. This is one of the things I wish I would have had in that book, and may add it to something else in the future. Watching this movie, he goes in, you know, if you remember Good and Bad Hair, it was the Jigaboos versus the Wannabes. Right. So it was really the black boule versus the regular hood dude. and he was showing the Boule agenda is to control the hood dude while you become bourgeoisie. The bourgeoisie is the Bill Cosby agenda. He's Boule. His whole entire show, Heathcliff, Dagmas, Theo, these unnegroistic names, he was trying to create a template or a way of being. He always was since the goddamn Fat Albert in the game. Be good to your brother, be kind in school. What he's trying to do is make a calling in the ghetto for those who are school bound, which is slavery shit. There was some of us who had to be sharecroppers, and some of us the first one in our family to go to college. Those grouping of niggas hate you. That's what Chris Rock was doing when he said there's black people and there's niggas, then got 20 million a movie afterwards. Because what he was doing was he was outlining the Boule agenda. And that's what Spike Lee did in that movie, Good and Bad Hair. And I'll show you throughout every movie where they show you this. Menace to Society, Dead Presidents, which was about the dude was a normal guy with remember his father was in the home. They were all eating dinner. Then he goes to Vietnam and becomes traumatized. Can't get a job, can't take care of his woman, can't take care of his baby, doing crime. They were showing you if what would they do? You go to college, you get trained, they explain the key to that movie, and then when you become a politician, you'll know how to deal with the Vietnam vet. Devil in a Blue Dress. Denzel came out the ghetto, moved into a neighborhood, and had a new problem. He couldn't pay his mortgage because he lost his job. That's other nigga problems. That's also who you would have to deal with in politics. I showed throughout the 90s, all of these directors had to give that to that 90s agenda. Then I showed you how they ended it and gave you the key to every 90s movie in 1999 in the goddamn movie Fight Club, when they showed the duality between Tyler Durden and whatever the Ed Norton's character was. They showed you, and they gave you all the keys. Sometimes it's him talking, sometimes it's me talking. I'm Tyler the whole time. So if you watch Fight Club, you thought it was a standalone movie, but it was defining all the 90s black movies. And they connected these two guys, these two actors, to black movies already. They connected Ed Norton to American History X, which sounds like a Malcolm X movie, whereas he was the white animal that got saved by black people. And then that same year before, in 98, Brad Pitt did Meet Joe Black, where he played the black spirit named Joe Black, and then they did the key, and you won't even add the two up, but it was the key to all those movies, and it's already laid out. Nothing to guess. I already have a lecture on it showing the key to all these 90s movies. So same plan.
So what you're saying is that the Boule agenda is to use movies to somehow separate or distinguish between niggas and Huxtable type Negroes.
Well, no, that's an excellent tool, but the Boule agenda is to live out that purpose. So, because there are niggas and there are Huxtable niggas. Every nigga in their family who's conscious got that brother who just had to take his ass to college, just finished all his homework. It's something.
I got a PhD.
Got a PhD. I'm a doctor.
Right.
I swear he's smarter than your black ass. Because you know what I'm saying? Because you was a little bit slovenly in your academics. So now, what the Boule is looking for, their agenda is more, there's a certain amount of black people who just ain't gonna make it. We ain't trying to save their asses. We're looking for the ones within the all the rubble that stands up and says, I want to be something, and we can make them something. The calling was, when they put out the Huxtable, they was sending early in the 80s a template for the black agenda in the black family. And then when they did A Different World, all these black people went to school in record numbers. They wanted to be Huxtables. And then that was, he's Boule. He's known Boule. He fucked up with the Boule, and that's why his ass is in jail. The Boule
But,
agenda
but
is
what's the real difference? Is it passivity? What's the difference between the nigga and the Negro? What is it?
okay.
Is it
The
passivity?
Negro I would say it's passivity, but their agenda is why burn it down when we invested so much. So we can look at it in the bigger picture as passivity, but they're looking at it as why fight white people when we can do the same thing as them? Maybe they have a better idea. We could join whatever. But now there's more spiritual reasons that go a little bit harder, but let's just keep it on earth for now.
Yeah, I just want to share with family. I cannot say that I listen to all of Brother Panic's videos, but be patient if y'all from Panic's tribe, congregation, nation. Be patient because we're leading up. First, we're doing the promotion of his 2 books because this is a new platform of people that never been exposed to this before. Okay, all right, and it don't matter how much. And this is a tantra psychedelic platform, family, that Brother Panic is on. So a lot of people here are into psychedelics. They're into tantra. But what I found in doing the entheogens along with Baraka, that even in the psychedelic community, these 3 subjects are never addressed. Power, money, and sex. They're never addressed in our circles. So having Brother Panic here is dealing with deconstructing the power twist to make you a slave, because we got something else. The second half of this show, we're going to cover material that Brother Panic we talked about yesterday. So
we will.
I want to acknowledge these 2 books. Now, this one I think you said was about hip hop, right?
No. More about your shadow self. It's about 7 laws that you can use as a go-to for whatever your scenario or situation is. So like I said, I go into a few things.
Okay.
Like I always forget.
Just flow anyway, man. Just flow with it.
Yeah, it'll be in there. But ultimately, what was you talking about?
We was talking about first we're bringing attention to this platform and beyond about your books, the 2 books that you have. This one, which is a mind-blowing, and basically this is a lobotomy for everyone in the chat who's into psychedelics and tantra. This is a lobotomy from Hollyweird.
These niggas is fucking high. They just getting high and fucking. They ain't into nothing.
All right, because
if your mind ain't right, none of that shit gonna work. None of that shit gonna work. Nobody's telling y'all that because everybody's busy trying to make friends and get followers on YouTube and kiss your ass and tell you how special you are. If you don't have your mind right, nothing's gonna work. Your mind is all. Drugs ain't all. Your dick and your pussy ain't all. And money ain't shit unless you have mind to deal with it. They are psychologically whipping your ass. You could be a high motherfucking slave or a sober slave. But guess what, nigger? You're still a slave, nigger. And
Thank you.
Stop apologizing to these niggas for what they don't know. And if they don't like it, then they need to fucking leave. If your mind ain't right, none of this shit is going to work. Christians smoke weed too. Christians smoke weed. Hallucinogenics too. Christians fuck too. I've tantra lectures from goddamn 8-9 years ago, and 20 years before that, I was getting a pussy doing it. It's that's easy stuff if you want to do it. The into it is a novelty. If your mind and your heart ain't right, this shit is about expanding your consciousness. Any of that shit is about expanding your consciousness.
Yo, Panic, this is shadow work. This book is shadow work, man.
It is.
We've been fucked up. I was born in the 50s, man. I know how jacked up we were. We okay, boss? Yes, sir. What is it? Yes. Yes, sir, Mr. Boss. I remember that being on Black and White.
Right.
Mhm.
Gone with the Wind, Clark Gable.
Mhm.
I remember Aunt Jemima Pancakes.
Listen, Tyler Perry is the same shit right now, dog. It's the individual. It ain't us and we and what we used to be. You niggas is fucked up right now. Like you just describing a different version of fucked up. Why do you think you are you not watching Love and Hip Hop?
I'm not.
I'm not.
Good, you don't have to. Because I ain't watched Going with the Wind neither, but it still exists.
And look at that fucked up movie called The Woman King. What's the follow up? The Man Queen.
Okay, here it goes. Here it goes. Come on, brother Panic. Come on now.
I don't talk about shit like that, man. Don't come on with that. I don't give a fuck about that
No,
shit.
no, but I mean,
Talk about that.
And
I'm
you
not
know how many women was like, "Oh, we're gonna go see The Woman King." It's like, what? You got to be out your goddamn mind. I said it.
oh, you're not gonna do kindergarten stuff.
No, he don't.
let's go to the next grade. Let's go to the next grade.
Next grade. How
Mm.
good? Oh, you ready? Are you ready for this part? We up on 9 o'clock. So we was gone an hour in the books. You ready for this next part? What we
Okay.
covered yesterday?
All right, so let's go.
All right, let's go. A lot of the audience here on this platform, Magnus Crystal's Pyramids, is really Tantra, psychedelics, and the conversation I had with Panic yesterday. What good are psychedelics if you're not studying and applying time to cultivate yourself? Brother Panic, does a shroom or ayahuasca make you enlightened?
Well, I
Is
mean,
it all figured out?
I mean, I don't really even need to answer that stupidity, but I will say this: that I remember when I first started hearing this kind of wiki wacky stuff was there was a girl I was dealing with out of Indianapolis, and she was vegetable conscious, and she was a good person and all the rest of that stuff. But then she tells me one day that she took either ayahuasca or mushrooms. I think it was ayahuasca, and now she's conscious because she had this one experience. I said, well, consciousness is something that comes from within. There's no shortcut, there's no cheat. If you're dumb and you take any form of hallucinogenic, you just hallucinate dumb. You may see smart shit that when you come down, you can't explain. And the key is you need or you should want, and this is all up to the individual. Because I'm not mad at motherfuckers who say I just want to get high and fuck. Shit, call it like it is. Know what I'm saying? You may be listening to the wrong guy because in my realm, I'm looking. I speak on bigger things and more inclusive. It's not just one thing. I can't. To me, it's silly to be just a tantric or just the what. There's just too much other things out there. Just like I'm just the vegetable guy or I'm just the broccoli guy. I love vegetables, but I just eat broccoli. It's limiting, but if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But there's so many more things you can do to expand consciousness. But most people are not really trying to expand consciousness. They're trying to have experiences, or let's hear this word. They're trying to escape. And there is no fucking escape, nigga. You got work to do. And that work is an internal work. That means you have to face yourself. And facing yourself means staring into the face of your own demons or your own dark side. Demons also means your own genius. Your genius is hidden within you. You're taking glimpses into your genius by tapping into this hallucinogenic world. I just took this drug and I let go of my ego. But when you get off the drug, you're back in your ego. So what the fuck does that mean? That's only a nigga who's saying, I left the jail for a day and now I'm back in jail. What a petty nigga. What a petty nigga. To really understand how never to come back to this prison, you have the hallucinogenics is supposed to give you a taste of what you're supposed to be going for in total reality. You get what I'm saying? And you only could do that by doing conscious work, by actually facing that truth. That second book, that's more what it's about. me facing the truth and giving people tools how to face it within themselves. You can be whatever or whomever or that which you choose to be. It's not up to me to say you should be this or you should be that. I'm saying if you're trying to be conscious and you're trying to do occult work, there's a certain standard or methodology that you must deal with, but you still can deal with it in your way. You don't have to deal with it in my way or my standard, but the key is you're still going to have to put in that work. And what I heard from her and then others after her was a lazy mentality that once the hallucinogenic, because niggas wasn't even talking about that shit for a long time. You know what I'm saying? In fact, Uncle Hank was the only one that people can make contact with for any of that for a long time. And then it got popular or not so evil. And then everybody all of a sudden wanted to be mushrooms.
Or shamans.
Huh?
Or shamans.
Oh, shamans. Yeah, that's another one. You know, that's the second part of this title thing. So again, it's things you have to face in realities and truths within yourselves. The hallucinogenics are supposed to help you find a truth within yourself, not a truth within this world. This world is an illusionary world. The only thing real here is that which is in you. And that's what you're supposed to be seeking as a conscious person. All this social behavior and social shit is cute, but I don't give a fuck about that, but on a certain level, only if it affects consciousness. And like, to be quite honest, movies like The Woman King, you already know what that's about. That's already been decoded. So why we keep complaining about that shit? You get what I'm saying? Let's try to find things within the narrative that were hidden to us or formerly dark to us. That's what the dark side work is. Not
the power, man.
That's in the light.
That's the power.
Trying to find that which is hidden from you, because that is what controls your doppelganger, your hidden self. That's what controls you, your subliminal programming, that which is in the darkness. The dark side work is to deal with the subliminal programming, bring it to light, therefore to contain and control more of your divine mind.
Here's the thing, Brother Panic. A lot of the messages that we're seeing today are not new. They go back decades. And so a lot of us are raised in a household or in an environment, in a community that has already bought into some of these old tropes, right? So
you don't even have to go any further. All you're doing is repeating what I just said. I said about psychological programming.
Right.
What did I just say? And what did you just describe?
Exactly.
Now don't exactly that shit now.
No,
exactly like I just said. It is about our old programming. It is about that which has been programmed so long, so much, and so old, we don't even know it exists anymore. It becomes normalcy.
Right.
And that normalcy is that's what the work is. That's what my entire second book is about. How to start working and looking within what you have accepted as normalcy because it's your dysfunction. Or maybe your dysfunction. And that's what we're trying to find out. That's what conscious folks, no matter what direction they were in, was the goal, whether it was a cult or not. I personally always thought the occult was the hardest way to get to that dark side. But if things work for other folks, then let them work. But let's not play with ourselves, because what I started to notice once we get online and this YouTube became monetized, niggas will tell niggas anything to make them feel good about themselves. Anything to make them feel good about themselves, including that hallucinogenics work, sitting down just saying on is enough, or whatever. People want different things out of this. After all of these years, And like I said, it's really what I find is most black people stop at figuring out a way to make some money or get their mixtape popping. Consciousness is a thing of the past. Anybody sitting around walking with a kufi on looks ridiculous now. It has been burnt out, it's been played out, and it's over. This, as it has always been, and in fact, one of the things Bobby Hemmett predicted to me, a journey that you must face alone.
I
When
like that.
you must face it alone. Which we see, it's easy not to face it alone and take responsibility. That's when you start talking that community shit. Because when shit don't happen in the community, which it never fucking does, you get to say, oh, black people ain't doing this and black people ain't doing that. No, the reality is you ain't doing shit and you ain't doing that. But you get to blame it on other black people when you say the community and the people and they doing this and they doing that. What the fuck are you doing? What responsibility have you taken for that which you make understood in yourself that needs to be dealt with? No one wants to take the responsibility because that means you God. Woman or man is God. And what means you God is you taking responsibility for your situation. We keep blaming on the computer or our enlightenment based upon drugs and fucking. You was going to do it anyway. There ain't no ritual. I remember these. I'm doing a ritual. I'm going to Sedona and we're going to fucking take drugs. You was going to fucking take drugs anyway. And you was going to go on vacation.
You know what I remember, Brother Panic, my brother Lenny, God bless him. He's on the dark side of life. You know, he made his transition. He used to say when he was doing, when he was doing time, he used to like having solitary confinement because sometimes you had to go there. But the thing is, he said was a lot of brothers couldn't handle solitary confinement, like in the darkness. And a lot of them bugged out because they couldn't handle the darkness because it starts playing back. Everything you did starts playing back in the darkness. Just want to share that.
Well, there's a book called Darkness Visible by Simon Buxton that tells you a lot of the treasures of ritual and ritual darkness. And it tells you what one of the rituals they did was keep you in darkness for a certain amount of time. And then the pineal comes online. You start seeing in ultraviolet. And so there's a different light that comes on in total darkness for a certain amount of time. That's a part of a ritual. So, and he goes in all the majesty in the ancient science of certain things that happen by dealing with darkness. So a lot of things, remember, darkness is just the other side of light. So it's a different version of light. That's all it is. Dark, white and dark is a polarity, not a color. And it's not, and it has nothing to do with evil or good. That's Christian training. It's polarity. It's negative and positive polarity. And out of darkness comes light. To get true, you don't get light from light. You get light from darkness, or the light that we're seeking. We're coming here to understand thyself. We're going to understand shit that you understand. That The Woman King is a terrible movie. We understand that. If we bring it up, let's put it in the context of where we could see the war tactic. We understand that war tactic. Masculine, the feminine. You get what I'm saying? We get it. It is only worth a note. I don't want to harp on that.
Got it.
I think it's worth something we say and we move on because we got that one already. I went to see that crap. You know what I'm saying?
I want to put up a videotape. And family, if you have desktop, like I'm working on desktop, if you can watch this in desktop, you I just wanted to share a piece of that.
It's cool.
The writing, Brother Panic, salutations, bro. The writing on that, man, is
Thank you.
captivating, bro. Captivating.
Uncle Hank. Appreciate it, Uncle Hank.
Yeah, man. Now I will want to share that I do want to share on the audience that um, we have a WhatsApp chat of people networking across the world. Um, entheogens, tantric classes, and those of you who are interested in, being a part of it, you can get in while you can, because I don't know what the cap is going to reach, but I just wanted to show that link in the show description so that you can join and share your gifts, your talents. It's called Magnus Crystals Pyramids. Oh, yeah, Panic. Let me put that back up so you can see it, so you can join, man, because you would definitely be welcome and a gift to people questioning everything and not being afraid of going into the dark side of the force is what I like calling it. Because sometimes I remember that shit scared the hell out of me when I was taking some ayahuasca one time, and I was taking and I was getting ready to get pulled into this dark abyss, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? Whoa, what was that?" For real. And you got to get yourself acclimated to say, you know, this is not an enemy, this is a friend. So we got chains on our psyche that go deeper than we realize. Deeper than we realize. And
I think that's a good thing to say, because you think because you became conscious, or you had your hair wrapped, you got some beads, or that you think everybody else is fucking stupid around you, that you somehow made it. But ultimately, it's not even about. See, we keep saying us and we have sis and we, but the real dialogue needs to start saying I have this on me. I have that on me. Everybody's talking about we. That's what I just got finished saying. Everybody blames the community. It's easy to say we got this on us. We got that on us. We ain't doing this. We ain't doing that. But that's just what I said. What we're supposed to say is I have shit on me. I have problems. I have this. That's what my second book is about. You admitting to your shit, not no invisible community shit. Your shit, and then you'll be able to take a real reflective look at yourself. It ain't about black hole, dark side. It's really about finding light. And I've in most of the deepest meditations, deepest rituals, and all of that shit in the early 2000s that was so incredibly profound to me. It was more light than there was dark things that I've seen.
and there's a lot of people that can't sleep in the dark. I mean, in my family, I remember people keeping the
Right
lights
there.
on.
Those particular people don't need to look at a community. They need to start asking themselves, that's the work. Why can't I sleep in the dark? And then they need to do everything in their power for them to figure out how to sleep in the dark, to see if there are treasures in that darkness. And to really, and for no other reason, just to find out why they have an innate fear of it. If that's the work they want to do.
That's the trauma that they got to address.
Yeah, see, that's the trauma
Gotta
we
work,
all
gotta
have
work
to
through it.
address. See, that's my exact point. The conversation always talking about they and them and in us. It's the trauma we all need to address.
That makes me think of the isolation tank. What is it? Special shout out to Kukau. He was telling me about isolation tank somewhere in Brooklyn.
Sensory deprivation.
Yeah, yeah, where you can hear the blood moving through your body.
Mhm.
You know.
And it makes you realize how
Banner
much
back up.
distractions we deal with all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm gonna pull. Oh, heart. Let's talk about the heart, brother Panic.
Yes.
How important is the heart because in our community, look, I call it we are heartbroken, wounded souls in a
We are.
dysfunctional junkyard sliding on
That's
chicken
what we
grease.
are. Is that what you are?
Oh, I say I am, definitely. And
Okay.
heart attacks.
Say it again. Say it again, Hank. Say it.
Yeah.
Say it again, Hank. Say it again.
I'm going to say, yes, I am part of a community, family that are heartbroken, wounded souls
You should be.
dysfunctional
What we went
junkyard,
through. You should be.
sliding on
We
chicken
should be.
grease
We should
and
be. But
trying to get over
everyone,
heart attack, stroke, and diabetes.
okay, you should be because of the trauma we collectively went through and individually went through.
Mhm.
So just like you should be, you, like me, have a particular formula that you have to seek remedy for. It's
Yep.
not a collective answer, which is a cop out for most of us because we'll never find it as a collective. You can't get 10 people in the black room to agree that her ass was the fattest. You get what I'm saying? You can't get 10 people in a black in a room to agree that that's non-GMO fucking broccoli. So that's not where we're at. What the agreement is that we're looking for is a frequency of vibration. And everyone is so stuck in their own ego and they have an egotistical approach towards consciousness. So they want to do it right up here. They wear the right beads, say the right words, don't say don't eat GMO, don't never say I'm fucking, I want to go get a Pepsi in front of these niggas, even though you go and get a fucking Pepsi now and again, or even scarier if you don't.
Pepsi tastes pretty good with pizza.
But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the key is the focus on consciousness should be directed from the heart. Because the heart is what's that of knowing. This is just the matrix tool you use down here to navigate through other egos. So when you're being honest with yourself, that honesty is going to radiate from the heart. So the heart is the key. That's why it's really the personification of the heart or the heart chakra is in the myth called the Christ. And there's a Christ story or a savior all around the world for many years before there was that white thing. And what they're really talking about is a process. And even in Gnosticism, where they get that white thing and most of that template from, is still talking about a process, not talking about an individual. That process is actually the work of the heart chakra, the compassion, the forgiveness, and the healing through through a whole process. First finding compassion, then finding forgiveness, then healing. So real quick, that's how I found it for my mother. The first thing, my mom did this, my mom did that, my mom didn't do that, my mom didn't do this, and everybody got that fucking story. The first thing I did was started seeing my mother as an individual instead of my mother in some authority figure that's only in my head of what she owed me. And seen her as an individual who was actually 18 when she had me. And my kids were 18 and they weren't that bright at the time. And they're much older now and still. So I'm like, what? Long story short, what does she know? What did my father know? So when I started to see and force myself to look at them as individual, I was able to separate not the fucking community, myself, from the power of dysfunction she had over me, because she's only another human being. Well intent or evil intent, she's still a human being. So there's going to be flaws. That's the nature of this place. So I had to personally see her as an individual who was just an 18-year-old kid. And it allowed me to start filling my heart with compassion for her scenario.
Yo, that's some deep
So
work.
let it keep going. So I had to fill myself with that compassion. And when I felt myself with that compassion, though that took a while, I seen her as an individual. I was able to look through her eyes and say, well, what happened in her house? What happened with this relationship? I seen her from the perspective of just me. Shit, all the chicks I tried to fuck and fucked, she was in the hood too. She grew up in Queensbridge too. I seen her as an individual, and it started to release the power. And then it started bringing me into forgiving her. Now I understand why you couldn't do that, why that wasn't so sharp, why that didn't happen. I can forgive you because I see you as just a little black girl, the same little black girls that everyone keeps saying they want to fucking save out here. I was able to see my mother as that little black girl and was able to save myself from my own psyche of what I believe she was supposed to live up to or what she failed at. I released her from that. Therefore, releasing myself from it, which now you should really, really understand just a little bit more when they say when you forgive someone, you're really doing it for yourself, not the black community, for yourself. And then from that compassion, forgiveness, then the healing begins. And that is the definition of Jesus Christ in the path to Christos energy in the heart chakra. And then once you start absorbing through what you know and through your heart chakra, it supersedes your logic. You don't say things anymore like The Woman King is a terrible movie. And you don't have, and I'm not getting on anybody here, nothing like that. Just using this as the example that came up. You'll say it and move on because it's such a small thing because you don't operate from here. You operate and you see more of a kingdom. So when Uncle Hank asked where that book comes from, because I'm looking at the kingdom and how it all collectively comes together. Because once you did the work, then you start having quantum eyes. Then you can start to see how all of this shit ties into a Willie Lynch letter. That's the nature of decoding, the ability to connect the entire thing from a quantum perspective. But you have an individualistic perspective when you come just from the ego and how you want to be conscious. I'm here for the tantric drugs. Like, nigga, you should be here for it all. There was a time you would be scarfed at for saying some shit like that. But everybody picked categories because that's where we're at now. This shit has turned into goddamn sitcoms when it was a study, an entire study of self. Before there was debates, everyone from all walks of study would be able to come into this collective, and you know I ain't lying, if they had something to add. Now it became who's better than who. It's dead. It's dead. So the only thing left is, because if you're trying to follow some sort of community, I get it. You were the black sheep. Nobody likes you for real. And you may find people who sort of think like you, but you'll get tired of that too. I've been around very long. And I've seen all these conscious, I finally found my family. 10 years now, fuck these nasty motherfuckers. No, I ain't lying. You know I ain't lying.
Yeah, I seen it.
You know I ain't lying. So all you have is one of the things Bobby Hemmett has always been saying, and I tried to echo well. Just you and what you can do for you. It's about know thyself. Once, see, all these, when black people made Black Wall Street and all the rest of the shit that niggas love to be proud about, these were skilled individuals who had something to offer a quantum community. You have nothing to offer but a good idea now, and it's not really that good. We need to do this. We need to do that. Let's be a community because we need to do this. What does anyone have to offer now, brother? Now, let's be clear now. Uncle Hank got shit to offer. You understand what I'm saying? His work, shit, I think I got his... All I got to do is reach around and pick one of his pyramids up. I just was looking at one. I think this is one of the ones that gave me. One of these Oregon chumpies. They all around.
Those are batteries. Those are batteries.
See, that's what makes value a skill. You got a bunch of black people with no skills, and their only skill is saying hotep, wearing onks, and showing you that they have a hell of a diet. You get what I'm saying? To me, that's not enough. But if it's enough for that other person, no judgment. I don't care. But you're listening to the wrong guy because I expect more. And what I expect is you to take what I say and go your own way. Read books, study, find what you need to find. You're not going to find it in a community that you have nothing to offer. Your community, oh yeah, bro, yeah. Well, you could talk about those.
Yeah, I just want to share this real quick, Brother Panic.
Oh, wow.
Because I also want to share your music, family. I saw this on media. It's available on Amazon. But what I did was I tried lifting a 45-pound weight. And when I saw this, that it spins in different directions, I thought about Lester and what he said about spinning pyramids. So what I did was I spun the middle and it made the 45-pound weight lighter. Now, I haven't tried doing this with sitting this on top of a glass of water, or I haven't did anything as far as possibly putting it a prayer underneath it. But this is just something that y'all can experiment with, because Brother Panic is saying think outside the box. If I
Right.
That's
understand.
exactly the shit I love. That's the exactly shit we should be doing. One of the greatest tools we have is your imagination and creativity. Just like you pick yourself up by your bootstraps here and do work in the spirit world, when you are going without a body, how you create your reality, your universe, who and what you are in the quantum world is through your imagination and your creativity. If you're not cultivating that, you're dead. You're dead. So Uncle Hank is on point. He's good enough.
And what if you put a Xenon on the capstone, like we talked about on your previous show, Brother Panic? I have no idea. I haven't done it yet.
Wow.
But I'm sure it will be done. So Uncle Hank he's exactly what I feel we should be. Everyone has something creative. That's who you are. That's what you are. And if your creativity is trying to figure out how to score with crypto, you're a fucking jerk off to me. I have really no respect for you. You know what I'm saying? To be quite honest. If you make it with crypto, then I'll figure out how to negotiate with your ass. But you spent a lifetime trying to figure that out. I got better shit to do. And I'm only speaking to those who feel of like mind. If you don't, I what can I say? I'm not trying to make anybody or any community. I try to offer information for those who seek to pull what they need from me. See, most black people are stupid that think I'm trying to convince them of trying to go this way. Listen closely and read my lips. Fuck you. I don't care about you. I'm not trying to save you. I don't give a fuck about no invisible community. If you want to save yourself, I care about that which is in you. And I speak to that and have been speaking to that for many years. And that's all I've ever said and all I've ever offered. Here's the book. Here's what I studied. Here's what I accomplished. And I believe you can too. And it's still your choice. Just if you're not about that, then you and I have no business together, and no hard feelings or not. Maybe you could come over for Thanksgiving if you're a nice person, but that ain't got nothing to do with what we doing here. In every Egyptian pyramid, it says "Know thyself," not "Know thy community." It was a individual work for the individual, and then you would negotiate or communicate on the frequency. Now niggas is just arguing. That's not a frequency.
Let me ask you something, Brother Panic. So in an ideal situation, when you get to know yourself and cultivate your value through your creativity, then do we come together as a community?
Nigga, why you trying to come as a fucking community? Listen,
I'm just asking.
I got you.
No, because here's
check it out. No, you asked, and the answer is
no. The reason why
there's no more. No. You already
okay. Go ahead.
And it's
Go
already
ahead. No, I wasn't trying to take it back, bro.
No. Either way, you don't even have to clarify what you just said. Our mind is one mind. We're already a community. We're here under the illusion of separation. In working that separation to get back to that community, you have to get back to your normal right state of mind. You made yourself go crazy to walk the path. They tell you it's not the destination, right? You're looking at the destination of a community. They tell you it's the path that you should be interested in. Your path walking back to that quantum community that you're talking about is not going to happen on Earth. I just told you, you can't get 10 niggas to agree what fish should go with what Kool-Aid. That's never really going to happen. You may get moments of unison, but that's coming, that caused there's something in us. And usually those moments of unison are because people's hearts were in it. You get what I'm saying? That something was new, it was the hearts, then it was the Boy Scouts. Somebody said, we're gonna save these boys. And then after the heart goes away, somebody said, you know something, we're gonna fuck these boys. You get what I'm saying? It all turns corrupt because this is where you're at. You're in an illusionary place of death. Who you are. All black minds are one divine mind that makes up God. That's the community. So once you start coming into enlightenment and you've gotten what you need here, and you felt you got what you, at least in this lifetime, you're moving back or have the possibility to move back to the true community, which is not in the atomic world. This is the place of separation. That's why under the illusion, this remote is different from you. No matter how much you close your eyes, and it's really an extension of what you're doing all day each time you watch the television. But you don't see it like that. Oh, fuck, I lost my remote again. That's where you're at. You got to know where you're at. You're trying to make something that doesn't really exist and never really has down here.
I hear you. I hear you.
Don't get me wrong. There's pockets of good and this and that and the other, but under certain circumstances, them circumstances very much well don't exist now. So
I hear what you're saying. You're coming from a very spiritual point of view. I hear what you're saying.
That's not my point of view. That's everything I've ever taught since day one. There's no other point of view that I've ever taught but a spiritual point of view. We are quantum beings, chaos beings, having a human experience. In humanity, navigate, if you could meet people that you like to go on picnics, you like to go, you do cartwheels and play the flute with a lot of folks, have fun. But if you're really studying consciousness, it's an individual transformation. It's an individual alchemy. And once you have reached a certain level of comfort, meaning you've faced your demons, see, I was very angry, very hard. You know, I go through that in the second book. Very angry, and you don't even know you're fucking angry. You don't even know. Not just you have the right to be angry, but an angry disposition all the time. You don't even see it because when you're hurt as a youngster, you start to find characters to become to protect yourself on these streets.
Yo, you
nigga hands, that nigga panic, that nigga face, that nigga one time, that nigga stomach ache, that nigga headache, slop. What the fuck you think these names are? These are shadow names, bro. Shadow names that you create in this place to protect yourself. That's your shadow side. So when you face that, see, all the hood movies, which I decode, everyone's trying to move out the hood. See, when I did move out the hood and I'm no longer in that scenario, I was able to reflect on a whole different level because I'm not in the mix. You see,
it's another level of slavery.
Okay.
No?
What's another level of slavery?
To moving out of the ghetto or the hood.
No. If you're in jail, moving out of jail, is that another level of slavery?
Well, so how about slavery?
Let's look at it this way, because this will probably make it easier for you.
No, I'm saying, how about from slavery to sharecropping?
That's very deep, but I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. If you're in jail,
sharecropping is peonage. It's another form of slavery.
What I'm saying is, what you're saying is on such a minute level of what I'm talking about. I wouldn't even go any further. Listen closely. If you're in jail, and you get out of jail, you're not going to do inmate shit unless you're institutionalized. You in ghettos, no matter how much you love the people and how much fucking cornbread you ate out there, is still a very, very hostile environment. I don't know where you live, but I'm from Queensbridge, and it was hostile. Moving out was not a form of sharecropping because when I was living in the ghetto, I wasn't working for nobody. So I'm still chilling, still selling books, and never had a job way before you, when you still was trying to probably get your GED. I never had a job. So let me explain this quite clearly. What I'm talking about is leaving your environment. So if you move from one hood to another fucking hood, knock yourself out. But you have to leave what you've been conditioned with. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I hear
that's
you.
true.
I hear
In
you.
the same language you talking. I'm talking about you leaving your psychological condition, which you, if you was any type of real nigga, that you either had to do things or had things done to you. You have to leave that environment. In fact, all the bridges, the projects, streets became motherfucking veves, symbols of oppression. Leaving the environment freed me from thinking to be able to see clearly at a situation because you begin to look outside yourself and see what was happening when you couldn't see it because you're looking behind your eyes. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? This
I
ain't,
hear you.
this ain't communal shit. Like, why is this happening? Like, listen, just listen. This is about you trying to find within yourself. And what I noticed by leaving, it had nothing to do with a job or feeling better. Oh Lord, I'm out the hood. Look at me. Here I go. No, it was about me leaving the psyche of the hood, which was
Mhm.
devastating, traumatizing. Y'all niggas can't seem to leave a fucking abusive relationship. And that's what we talking about. Leaving an abusive, if you truly was, if you wasn't, go crazy.
But just like the jail guy, the hood guy is in a same way institutionalized,
Yes,
right?
that's what I'm saying. That's
So in other words, you could leave the hood or the projects or whatever, go to a different environment, and that different environment will make a difference. But if you were conditioned in that initial environment, you still have a awakening process to free yourself from that. And all I'm saying is that it's like the onion with layers. We're still in the world of illusions. So you will free yourself from one condition, but there are still many others. Yes?
so what? Yes, of course it is.
You don't have
But
to be condescending, bro.
no,
I mean,
I have.
we're just having a conversation for the
Let me tell you.
audience's
Hold
purpose.
on. No, first and foremost, Hank, who is this guy asking this stupid shit of me?
He doesn't know who you are. So
Then he has to go because this is interrupting me. Let me tell you, what you're saying is absolutely correct. But what we're talking about is you leaving an abusive situation for a better situation. I've been said and have been talking for years, you will never escape this shit but through death. But you are in a situation you can't see because of your condition. You must change your condition. I just say then move hood to hood if that makes you feel better. But when I grew up in my neighborhood, I create demons. I create personalities to survive in that scenario. So
Right,
if
I
I
got you.
leave, shut up and listen. If I
Now,
leave
bro,
because you're
listen.
interrupting me, and
We on the phone. Don't talk tough on the phone, dog.
let me tell
Don't
you
do
something,
that.
dog, I am really this dude in real life.
Yeah, but
What you need to do,
you're not in front of me.
what you need to do is
You don't
understand.
talk like that in
I
front
do
of a man.
live lectures all over the country. Come and see it.
It
I
ain't personal,
am this
man. Don't
dude.
be this. Let's not take it personal. We're just having a
Then listen.
conversation.
Listen. You're interrupted. I could be doing other shit like sleeping now. You're bringing low. You're not even listening to the shit I'm saying in the moment. You don't need to say anything. Just listen. Then, if this bothers you, if you think it's just tough talk, just listen. And if not, just leave.
Do
I
your thing, man.
hey,
Just do your
I'm
thing. It ain't. It's
hey,
not even
I
about
did
me.
this show with you.
It's not
Who
about
is
me,
this
bro.
guy, Hank?
moving towards Ubuntu. This is the dark study. We're talking about shadow work. This is shadow work live. because you have people who are very advanced students of Brother Panic, and then you have newbies. So you got a mix.
Hank, stop explaining this shit. Listen closely. What I learned is once I moved out of New York, and it wasn't for a better life, it was actually to move with my wife. What I started to notice was I now, as New York became a memory, I was able to stand outside of the experience, observe the experience, and now, because of the work that you do spiritually, be able to decode things that you formerly couldn't see because it was happening in the moment. When I left the scenario, it no longer was happening in that moment. It doesn't mean you have a better fucking life, nigga. Are you crazy? It ain't got nothing to do with that. This is not even the conversation we having. That's why this is interrupting. What I'm saying is you have to change your situation to be able to see your situation. So whatever you dictate that change may be, if you're doing the same thing you did from when you was little, how can you inspire any change? Exactly. You can't. You have to change your scenario to be able to see yourself from different angles. And the angles you don't see are the shadow. And that shadow is created primarily through trauma. Through trauma. So most of us in our ghetto scenario were traumatized just by the living conditions. When I got out of a hostile environment, and there's no need for those particular senses to be sharp anymore. Other senses come online, bro. And when those senses come online, you'll be able to see some of this trauma you are. The same way a battered woman moves her ass out the house.
No doubt.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people. You don't have to answer that. That's interrupting me now. I'm not looking for you to co-sign. I know what I'm talking about and been making this point for a long time. Either learn or don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So just like a woman takes herself out the scenario to be able to look and see for herself what this abuser or this abusive scenario is doing, or that same sharecropping job, or that same job that you think you hold on to because you feel that you may lose it and lose everything if you lose it. All of these things create personalities that get us to hold on to these places.
Exactly.
So I went to here not knowing I'm going to hold on to a new house that makes me better. I had to leave a hostile environment to be able to take a new breath to do the work. I did more classes here than ever in the ghetto. So I would never move back because it's just like going back to jail to say I'm tough and I could bear it out with my people. No, I'm sorry, but I can show you how to get out of jail too. And that's what I've been doing. All right, let's ask another question.
Oh, you know what I would like to do? I would like to play that other track you have here.
Well, let's go crazy with it.
All right, hold on 1 second. And then I'll share also the link. But thank you. Thank you for this whole energy because we did shadow work. This is the beginning of shadow work, but this is Brother Panic's track part 2. Can y'all hear it?
I can.
Let me know if y'all can hear this.
The kind of girl that you could be down for. 'Cause when I look at you, I feel something tell me that
is the link.
you're the kind of guy that I should make a move on. And if I don't let you know, then I won't be for real. I could be wrong, but I feel like something could be going on. The more I see, the more that it becomes so true. There ain't no other for me, it's only you. I wanna be down, but you
Brother Panic, when did you publish this? When did you write this, bro?
Yo, I have a studio downstairs. I make records all day. I just did it at my house
How long ago?
a week ago or so.
I like that baseline beat.
Thank you.
You gonna have an album out soon?
Yeah, it'll be out tomorrow.
For real?
No, I actually got a record out, another record out now with B.O.B. It's on Antimatter. Go get it.
You said antimatter?
Yeah, that's the name of the album.
This I want to thank you for taking the time, for the newbies, for the oldies,
Mm-hmm.
and putting together the music.
Thanks.
Because to take it from lyrics and then putting a bass line and putting it all together, that's some serious art. So everybody who's listening in, please.
Hey, can you pause that for a second?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Let me pull it down.
All right, y'all. Remember Saturday, February 18th, 2023, Stone Mountain secret location. We having our deity party. It's already lit. So y'all niggas need to come. It's gonna be catered food. Let me read her flyers. Khadijah's joint. It's gonna be in Stone Mountain. You're not gonna get the address yet. Pre-tickets only. Email Khadijah at it's Somdi Readings info at somdireadings.com. And you got to dress up, sons, rituals, DJ. She'll give you all the prices, all the payment options, but we still have tickets. We got a bigger place, so shit is a smash. February 18th, the magical theme night, the decked out theme party, decked out theme party. So make sure y'all niggas get them tickets for that shit.
What time from what to what? Is
That's
it all weekend?
Find out when they email. It's secret location. Otherwise, it'll be niggerfied. So it's pre-tickets. They got to email info at Somdi Readings, SAMEDIREADINGS.com. And Khadijah will give them all the necessary.
All right, hold on. I want to type that out and put it up as a banner.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Say it. Give it to me from the beginning.
Okay. At info, INFO.
What's the first letter?
Info, INFO at somdireadings.com.
How you spell the Somdi?
SAMEDIREADINGS.com. Somdireadings.com.
And that's February
18th.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me type that in, man. I wish I had a teleporter. I like to
It-
that out.
It's okay. I think they heard it. You know what I'm saying? If they're gonna come, they're gonna come. Don't go through too
2023.
much trouble.
Adding now, posting.
All right, looks good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now, let's get back in the flow. Panic.
There's more flow.
Huh?
There's more flow.
Yeah, there's more flow.
All
Let
right.
me put up the ticket, and then we're gonna put up the info. SameReadings.com, February 18th, 2023. I don't know if that's all day and all night, but I guess you'll find out when you send in your info.
There we go.
All right.
Another question, Hank?
Yes. let's talk about ego.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about ego
Yes.
because I think that'll be really helpful for all of us. And you got the floor, bro. And thank
Ego,
you, Baraka, for being fluid.
egos are absolutely positively necessary. Most people think your ego, if I tell you, oh, fuck off, I feel cool today, is really stopping your flow. It's kind of like you don't want to do that with people, but you're dealing with people's ego. That's how you're meeting people. Your heart, your work, you have to check your own ego for yourself, not for other people. So that's everything I've been telling you already. You have to be honest with yourself. Most people egos extend for the lies that they tell themselves. So they need other people's to be convinced of it. And that's the way humanity works. You're having a human experience. But when you sit by yourself, you're trying to eradicate the lie that you tell yourself. You're going to tell people lies all day. I'm cool. I'm happy. I like you. I feel like being here. It was nice to see you today. All of that shit is ego. What you wear is ego. You can't get away from your ego. But that's not the ego. People are misinformed at what the occult understanding of the ego is. It's learning what you tell yourself, because that's where your ego starts. You see, if you really was listening, see, people say these buzzwords, but when see your ego's created when I created panic in the ghetto. When I sat down and said, this is the nigga I have to name myself to survive out here. Because my ego is only concerned with one thing, my survival and to make me look good. So when I'm in that ghetto, I'm making panic. I'm the tough guy. I'm the gunslinging guy. I'm the nigga who cracks jaws guy. I'm whoever or the nigga who makes you laugh guy, or the nigga who does backflips off the goddamn monkey bars guy. But they're all getting in and trying to survive in a hostile environment. Your ego is necessary. If you're on Wall Street, your ego is necessary. If you're in the suburbs, your ego is necessary. All of that's necessary because that's what it's designed for, to maintain your humanity. It's why you flinch when someone scares you. That's your ego. You will never divorce yourself of it as long as you have a human body. But just like the hallucinogenic drugs you're trying to do, you're trying to have moments free of your ego, not from being a nice person. That's morality. That's different. Morality is different. Courtesy is different. And those things could fall under why you're not courteous and why you're not this and why you're not that and why all of these things. But in the end, that's what people are. What you really want to work on is being honest with yourself. Yeah, I'm a bitch ass nigga and I know it. But you're not going to show that to the world. I'm the gangster's toughest, bite you in the face ass nigga. But then you're in your house. Oh shit, I hope they don't come in here. Who are you lying to? It may be necessary for you to lie to them niggas on the street, because if you don't, they're going to be running in your house, smacking your mama around, kicking your sister up the ass and taking all your weed. So you may have to be the tough guy there. It's necessary. And there's more of that tough guy necessary based upon your environment. So that creates a lie that you need to tell yourself, including giving yourself names. I just did a lecture the other day. I told you want to do a spiritual mantra. Call yourself by the name your parents called you when you was little. Boo Boo, Nunu, Nick Nick, because they seen you as innocent at that point. So you want to get back to your innocence, and you want to start your meditation to deal with the ego that you have to find out within yourself. It ain't about proving to other niggas you're a good person or a nice person by acting courteous. I have no ego. You're special and we're special. That's not reality. The reality is, at least from my perspective, is what the ego you're trying to eradicate is the lies you tell yourself. You got to tell lies to the world, otherwise you'll be run over if you were absolutely honest. Every child is innocent and honest. We know that. That's why we love children's and babies. and all the rest of that. But until they start get conditioning in the world, then their ego is being reinforced for survival. If they see their parents argue all the time, they reinforce their ego based upon that. If you never seen your parents argue, you ever go to one of your friends' house, the parents argue, and you're fucking sitting there cringing, and the other kids is playing natural. They've gotten used to it because if they get alarmed each time their parents argue, they would go crazy. So their ego, in order to survive, tells them this is normal. So when you're living in the ghetto and niggas are shooting each other in the face, you're saying this is normal. Whether you logically say, that's wrong, you shouldn't do that, black on black crime, we are better, we are this, we are that. But because you live in that scenario and it really hasn't been, there's nothing you're doing to address it but complain about it, you're really still absorbing the trauma. The same way a woman who's getting beat is saying, I know it's wrong, but then they start making excuses for the shit about why they should stay. Well, I talked to him wrong and I shouldn't have did that. And I usually know to leave him alone and all that, because that's their ego doing things to survive within the scenario that they're in. So when they move out of the scenario, they're able to have a self-reflected look upon themselves. And that's truly what consciousness is. It's self-reflection, not a communal reflection. The communal, what if that's the hype? All that shit was an agent movement by Dr. Martin Luther King. As individuals, we all had something to offer, and then we were making the community. Is there an echo somewhere? Let me see if that's mine.
I sound good over here.
All right. I've been hearing a little echo. All right. Well, anyway, yes, I think it's gone. So I forgot what I was saying.
We flowing with ego, deconstructing ego.
Yeah, I was in the middle of something with it. Either way, so it depends on what level of the ego you're talking about, because there's still a certain way to curb your ego through courtesy and humanity. I get all of that. That's not my first concern. Yeah, the echo is going, C Diggs. That's not my first concern. If there's a flow, if there's an energetic flow, good enough, then we can flow. If not, so what? I'm not trying to make friends in this. I'll be quite absolutely honest. I'm trying to lay information every time I open my mouth that's usable to the masses. I don't give a fuck if an individual gets it. The masses is what, so I try to speak to a broader audience of what they can do when I'm gone, without me, without following me, without having to stick to me on my next word. I try to give out as many books and have just done book shows for hours and hours, just giving out books and books so you can find what you need yourself, because every single individual came here individually for an individual reason, for a collective goal. And that collective goal is where the community lies, who we are as a people, who we are as one, and it doesn't exist in this understanding. It's the way the Egyptians looked at it, it was a quantum understanding. What's called heaven is the quantum world, or the quantum leap, which I did a 12-hour video straight and fell asleep on, and then finished with 8 hours of how to die and not come back based upon the pyramid text. So, I mean, we're not playing with how to do this on a friendly basis. This, and what I've always been teaching, Uncle Hank, is how to get the fuck out of this place and never come back. Earth is your misery. That's my foundation. Ain't no one place of that. This fucking whole place fucking sucks. Even when you was in Africa eating mangoes, it sucked. It sucked. This is not a place to live. It's a place to pass. I could show you, you want to go through mythologies? I could show you mythology and mythology where each divine being or that divine entity will tell you this is a place of passing through. This is shit. Willy Wonka in the fucking chocolate factory, #2, very high metaphysical chakra story. In it, there was a scene where Willie builds a chocolate kingdom for a prince or a king or whatever. He says, don't live there. It's beautiful, but you can't live here. And it melts. That's straight out of Hanuman and Shiva. Shiva builds a city for the king, said it's beautiful, you can't live here. He went to live there. Shiva went, Hanuman went, he had Hanuman destroy it. This is talking about this place. You're not supposed to set up shop here. Riddick, I talked about this. And if it's not in that first book, I talked about it and wrote it somewhere, where Riddick was a very powerful chakra movie. He came through. The first thing he said, they said, are you going to be in this jail? He said, no, I'm passing through. That's the traveling man. That's who you're supposed to be. Not fuck masonry. Let me get that out the way. Fuck masonry. I don't know shit about it. Not in it. Don't have no secret codes. Don't care. Don't give a fuck about it. But I do understand where they get it from, which is still our shit. And the concept of the traveling man is you're supposed to be traveling through this shit. This is not where you rest. Suburbs, ghetto, on a French fry cart with crypto. None of it. We all came to get, they said it all in the Matrix. We all came here to do what we came to do. So if the Egyptians laid out, it's know thyself. That's what we working with, bro. That's what we working with, sis. Know thyself. This is really a study, and that's more where my second book really goes into, a study about understanding you personally, not us and we, and because we never do that. That shit to me is a cop-out, to be quite honest. It's an easy way to blame other people for shit that you may not be feeling. You get what I'm saying? Shit that you may not be feeling. So to feel those things, to experience those things, you're going to have to face some things in you. Face some things in you. And you can't do it by the way you're moving, because the way you're moving, you created a hidden self to protect yourself. That's the catch 22. You created the hidden self so you don't have to see the dirty things you have to do to survive. So we can look at the nigga in the ghetto and we like, he's the most foulest nigga, this nigga Young God, and he did this and that. But you talk to Young God, he'd be a sweetheart dude when you catch him in the right mood, but he will kill your ass. Because he's created something in him that said, this is what I need to do to survive. And my name is no longer Bill, it's Young God. All them niggas had hood names. That's a reason for that. That's because you're creating a character. I remember starting out with graffiti, Panic. I remember sitting down and just drawing as a kid, Panic, over and over again, Panic, and thinking of who Panic was. I was literally pulling down an aspect of myself to be able to use in my situation. I don't even know who that guy is anymore. That's transformation. That's alchemy. I don't even know who he is no more. Because if I am still the same OG, the same guy, it's a failure. This place is the place of transformation. This is alchemy. And you will never get it blaming everyone else in the community. Women never do that. They're making that. Look what they're doing now. That's fun to talk about, but it's really, truthfully, no more than gossip. No more than gossip. What are you doing? What's your aha moment? Don't tell me no shit that everybody's watching on YouTube. What have you come to realize? That's the key. And if it's not the key for you, I understand and respect that too, but don't come around here with me with that shit, because it's going to be a different conversation. Give them, it's always has. This ain't a new moment. I've been speaking since 2004 with the real niggas. Bobby Hemmett is the one who gave me the right of way. That's old news. And I've been speaking online before niggas even knew there was a following thing. Uncle Hank will tell you, people come around the world not because me and I'm so cool, because they hear a certain truth in the dialogue. And that's what Bobby Hemmett taught me, if anything, how to try to remain with integrity to the study. Forget making friends and buddies. We could whistle later.
Speaking of whistling later, We're in January, Brother Panic, and we have another generation of young folks coming up with seeking. They're seeking. For the young generation that's seeking, because the folks around my age, most of them, a lot of them, unfortunately, are checking out from physical ailments. But there's a new generation coming up that's listening to you. And in that, what wisdom would you say for the people who are listening to you the first time, who are young, like in their 20s and 30s, trying to figure things out?
I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you, Hank. Even that's old. I think they consider me old now, to be quite honest. Most of what I guess I would say is what I've always said is study everything you can, always remain the student, and before you call yourself a teacher, remain the student. Uh uh never turn down never turn down any piece of information that you feel is transformative. Don't waste your time with bullshit, and don't let people bullshit you into a frenzy of stupidity because they haven't done anything or they haven't gotten to a certain level. Because when you do that, also we're all this community now. We're not talking about better than anybody. Now let's not make it petty, but there's third grade, and then there's high school, and then there's collegiate level. So you have to really see where your frequency is. So let's say you just that new person, study everything, but try to center yourself into something that really catches your attention.
Because
You
what?
gotta,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you gotta wipe away and be real with yourself. So if you're, let's say you're centered in health, if you're not, if you don't feel your calling is to be a health practitioner, then all you are is a guy who likes to eat well. You get what I'm saying? So we got to call it for what it is. Consciousness, if that's what we're doing, I do it through occult sciences, esoteric studies, spirituality. And uh, uh, from that perspective, I would say that's where the abundance is. It has been never ending, it's always given. I've seen over the years a lot of people run into a brick wall with the area that they study. What I notice about the occult, which is one of the things that attract me, it still evolves. It evolves with your consciousness. So there's always something that you can see the dark side in, which is where the other half or the other polarity of that story is. Remember the law of polarity: two sides to every coin. Every coin has two sides. So therefore, you cannot have a light side without the dark side. It doesn't exist. They're one thing. So if you're just studying, I'm a light bringer and all the rest of that shit and all this love and light in the community, you're only studying half of the game. And that half that you're ignoring is the part that's actually dictating your reality, your subconscious. That's why that whole book there, and even a lot of the second books, deals with, my whole entire study is dealing with subliminal programming. Because once you understand subliminal programming, I don't give a fuck what drug you take, what cartwheel you do, you're fucking still a slave. And nothing's worse than a slave with an ego. You got to
Mm.
free your mind. And then all that other shit adds on top. I was already heavy in ritual, heavy with speaking to spirits, heavy with teaching people how to speak in spirits. Taught classes for 10 years, about to start a new class. And by the way, for those who are listening, cyclomancy class will be starting soon. The ability to enhance your psychic powers at your fingertips. I'm about to start it soon.
What's the contact for that? Your website?
Yeah, just go to the website. It'll be up on the website. I think most people know how to get at me, occultlectures.com. A lot of people cut up a lot of my videos, put them everywhere to do, my videos are 5 hours, 6 hours, 9 hours. So, they're always chopping up bits and pieces. So they're everywhere. But my official channel is occultlectures.com. My website is occultlectures.com. You can get me on Instagram, BROTHA Panic.
BROTHA.
And then the word panic. Bruh, the panic. So I mean, I would say you could get it there, but I guess I would tell a new person study till you can't no more. Never get enough, become greedy. And here's the key. You want to know just to know. You
Mm.
don't want to know to save anybody, any community, any kids, any nothing. You want to know just to know. And when you have that sincere approach, it's starting to come from here. There's a book called The Spirits Book by, I think it's Alan or something Karnak. It's an old book, and most Orisha people will refer to it because there's a whole book of channel. But in that book, he talks about the ego and ego poisoning as well. And he talks about how you can study all of this shit, but if you don't understand the true nature of the study, you're going to study it like you did in public school. And in public school, they taught you to be cerebral. And but how we taught and what we are, you learn from the heart. That's why we had a holistic teaching system of talking, because it allowed you to use your imagination when I told you a story. If I said she was brown skinned with chinky eyes, you already seen it when I just said that. You already had your own image of that. And that allows you to be free in your head. When I give you a finite story and says this is what it is, you now have to be trained by me. But to tell you the story, yeah, it was a tree and it was blown in the wind. It's a form of guided meditation in this storytelling of the mythology or whatever point the teacher is making. This would allow it to hit the heart and you can become it. Then you would learn the mathematics, the science, the history of that particular tree. Let's say you were learning, you would climb it, you would eat from the fruit, and so on and so forth. Instead of subjugated thought, math and English and. That's a CISC and RISC thing they had actually in computer networking at one point, where they were making processors that would take fragments of information, process it, spit it, another fragment, and spit it, as opposed to the other one, either CISC or RISC, that was the name, and it was an acronym that would just take a stream of serial information and compute it. And that's how we thought. We can take serial information and compute it. White people need to subjugate it and break it down in sections. So they created a whole system of schooling for your black ass. So when we get out of school and try to learn our ancient shit with the methodology of schooling that they taught of, it goes over our head. We're still trying. I'll speak straight shit in English and say it all through, but the answers I get for years is that of a logic one from someone in school. It's almost like they can't hear it because they're not listening here. They're trying to make it right here. And I know that's hard. That's hard to make that jump, but you can only make that jump by self realization. You don't make that jump because someone told you how. You have to do things, and you have to challenge yourself. You have to find the basic books of ritual, set up an altar. You know what I'm saying? In my first class, I taught you fairies, chakras, crystal magic, altars, astral traveling. What else was on the list? Laws of Tahuti, Necronomicon, which I ended with, symbolism, dream symbolism. And I may be missing a couple of other things, crystal candles. So all of these, I'll show you how all of those things, ritualized in whatever way you do it, is only trying to do one thing: impact the subconscious mind, which is impacted through repetition, trauma,
Mm.
and symbols. Repetition, trauma, and symbols. All three, what you see in the screen all time to program you. The Africans use trauma, cutting, rites of passage, initiation, tattooing, and are examples of trauma. Symbols or any, you should figure out what symbols, and repetition. Constant saying over and over. I used to say in my class, how many of y'all know your ABCs? I will hope every hand went up. Say them backwards. Nobody knew them backwards. Of
Mm.
course, nobody knows them back, because you would learn the repetitious A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In fact, you can say the ABCs faster than your mouth. You Your mouth can't even keep up because that's because you've been subliminally programmed. When they put letters above your head, that programs your subconscious. That's why they do billboards. And that's why they kept the alphabet above your head in school, because that's the basics that they wanted you to learn. You learn that from repetition. That's why your parents said, how come you know every song, but you don't know your math? Well, if they sang fucking math, you'd know it. And they did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you did. And you counted. So those things are programmed in you. You don't know them. You know the repetition. So if you see somebody getting their ass, your mother getting her ass beat repetitiously by your father, that's why you're more likely to be a beater, because you've seen it and it becomes a part of your reality. So if you're in these traumatic situations, it becomes a part of your reality, so much so you don't even know. See, if I said, nigga, do you know your ABCs? Why would you be offended? You would be offended because it's supposed to be such common knowledge that you know it. So it becomes common knowledge. If you see your mother getting beat, it's a good chance. Either I've noticed either one or two things. Either a dude refuses to do that, or he's all in with it, because it's the programming. So if something in the program said, I'm going to become the other guy, because I've seen guys who had no fathers, who can't stay away from their children, then guys who had no fathers and do the same thing to their kid. It's psychological warfare that we're under. And we're not going to get out of it with logic. You have to go into your own psyche to see your own damage. Your own damage. And you have to do whatever you need to do and do it wherever you need. If you have these fucking principles that were given to you, or just you stuck with rap fucking music or something, I'll never leave the hood. A fucking Ice Cube and them niggas said it while they lived in gated communities. Never leaving the hood. You crazy? It's too much trauma there. And it's designed that way. It's designed that way, and it's designed to keep you locked into it mentality. It's not who you are. You're a fucking god, and you should live like such. Turn the hood better. Nobody ain't doing that, though, because that community shit don't work. Everybody who was in the hood left that shit, except us. Disenfranchised ain't got nothing to do, because we still have a traumatic slave hangover. A traumatic slave hangover, and we have to do whatever we need to do. And we think, see, and I get it. I'm not blind to it. It seems like if we went through it as a slave, as a people, that we need to address it as a people. But the key is addressing it as an individual. My grandfather was into the occult. When I first started studying it, I started seeing words like I, you. I didn't see we, us. And it was disturbing, because I was trained just like anybody else. We as a people, and we got to do it. And I'm doing this for my people and my people and my people and my people. But ironically, the more I got into the occult, the more I helped our people, more than the people who said they were out to fucking help them. Don't take my word for it. Hank, when he came to this, he's like, well, why are people coming from Alaska to New York, the UK from New York, from this place and that place from New York? I said, they hear the word. I don't take stock in myself. Yeah, I'm that nigga. No, I do it because I think everyone could be that nigga. But don't fight with your goddamn ignorance. Now is learn time. Expanding on hearing something that you don't normally hear from the same routine people who really just need a family. And there's nothing wrong with that neither. I wish there was, I have a family. I don't feel I needed a community family. Some people do, because of trauma. You know how many consultations I've done throughout the world now? And I've talked to the community constantly, and they're suffering from trauma. None of them. Once we get away from all of that Hotep shit, my mama never did that. My father never was around. That's real. Not because I feel that way, because I'm dealing with the people that everyone's thinking they're trying to fucking help. And when I deal with them constantly, it's the same story. My wife's been doing readings forever, and it's the same story. They can't get along. They can't get along. Then there's the logical. I've noticed many types of people who aren't really even conscious, an abundance of logical people who think everyone's stupid. So they'll hear something smart and finally feel they found a place they can hang out in. They're not really conscious. Then there's I finally found my family crew. Then there's just the kids who said, yo, I've been listening to you and it helped with perspective. So they're not necessarily trying to be anything but more empowered than they ever was because they never got it. And I've met plenty of people who grew up on me for that. Shout out to my man Duke, who doing a few things that were actually really big. And I remember him since he was a kid. He wanted his lady, who's still his lady, and I met them 13 years ago. He was like 19 or 20. They wanted to meet me to buy some herbs or something, some of my herb packs, and I just fucking, y'all can have it. And then for years I would just give him shit. He would come around and he was just a cool dude. Then I seen him at my book signing in April, and he told me all the magnificent shit that he's doing. And then when he came over the other day, he pretty much was saying, this is a young guy, Hank, or was a young guy. He said, you know, his pops was pushing for him to go to school. He quit. But his pops, long story short, his pops calls him boss now. Calls him boss. No, and somebody, RDK, said I helped out a lot, different perspective, getting away from the slave mentality. Family psych. That's the standard stuff. Once you get see, most people want you to have a sweet personality. I've always said that as well. Fuck my personality, because it's not about me. It's about you. I could be an asshole. So what? Did you get what you wanted? Because I'm giving it. I know that much. And I know in the wake, there's a lot of people who will tell you that story. There's people I travel all around the country. Every place there's a nigga, I showed up. And I promise you this, people come greet me with tears in their eyes because they sit with it after they look all around and do all the community shit and get disappointed. Then all they have is what the messages were. And then I guess this is resonating. And I'm sure there's 1,000 motherfuckers who tell me he's a son of a bitch who ain't saying shit. That's just the nature of it. It's all about what you want. And it's all about knowing who's sitting in front of you. So you could say, I don't want that. So it's just going to frustrate me to even fucking listen to it. So I don't. So I always encourage, don't listen to me. I don't need more followers. I need people who are sincere, because I'm going to tell you I'm not going to tell you how special you are because of your melanin. I'm going to tell you, you do have melanin, but if you don't use the shit, you a dummy. Melanin does anything you want it to do, including be dumb. So if you, not you, I'm not saying anybody here now. If an individual wants to stay stuck or stay in their place, there's nothing nobody could do about that but that individual. So the true conscious teacher was supposed to give the individual tools that individual needed to help dig his own ass out of a hole. And when you got something to offer, then you can help the Black community. Because all of that I was seeing when I studied the occult, I was like, fuck it, I guess that's what it was. But then I started to notice more people saying, you help me, you help me, you help me. I'm like, damn, I wasn't even setting out to help no community, but there's a lot of motherfuckers who say thank you and I've helped them. But at the same time, I'll be the first one to tell them, y'all help me. Because if it wasn't them, I couldn't still stay studying, still stay aggressive, still stay interested. When I hear a person now and then, yo, man, The one thing you said, man, I did this and I did that. When you hear 10 fucked up motherfuckers, one person could keep the party going. You know what I'm saying? And of course, it's your ego looking for it because your ego needs justification. But all you have to do is stay true to your heart. That's the key. And in my heart, I know my shortcomings and I know where I stand strong at for me. So that's what you're trying to find. Or even if that's true, if I am strong or weak in these areas, but it's all about you. I tell new kids, like I tell old kids, never stop studying, never get too ahead of yourself and too comfortable in whatever you know, because you will always find out something new. Always. So keep your door open, but don't fall into the trap of leaning on other folks for your consciousness. And that's really what we're talking about. Leaning on other folks for your consciousness.
And I see you have a lot of sisters in the audience. And actually, I have a young mother that just called and she's listening to you now. She didn't know, this is her first exposure. For the young mothers, Brother Panic, what recommendations would you give to them? And they're listening. I mean, I literally, they're listening.
They always been listening. Like I said, this is not like, oh, a mother's listening to me.
No, just the time of year.
This is all day, and I don't think I would say anything to them that I haven't said already. Is my point. I'm not a community person. I don't think they have a special message in the community, and the brothers don't. I think we have one message to get to work. And I think if there's a personal woman thing that's needed, then other women should do that. Not me. I'm not qualified to tell a young mother what to do as a mother. I can speak on some things of what her to do for her enlightenment, just like I could speak to a brother and say pretty much the same type of things. So I don't have a special community message for them, to be quite honest, no more than what I've been saying to many young mothers, many young girls who became mothers on my watch. There's kids that come to me, yo, I'm 30 something. There was a dude at the lecture, 30 something. I've been listening since I was 16. This is old news. So it's the same consistent message. I'm not a community activist. If she's listening, then I would say, thank you for listening.
Right on. I can't think of nothing else, man.
Neither can
I want to thank you for being on the platform, bro.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a show.
I want to thank you, Baraka, for being on the platform. And
right on.
This was an incredible show. I want to thank all of Brother Panic's. I like calling.
Let me 1 second. I want to thank you too, Brother Baraka. Sorry it got heated. I apologize if I got too heated, but you gotta let me flow. That's usually
no. It's all good, bro. It's all good.
Story of it. If I get interrupted, I get real annoyed with it. So I got to get in the spiritual zone.
My bad. I was trying to stimulate, not interrupt.
I can see that. That's why I'm apologizing if I overreacted. So I do want to apologize to you.
Respect, warrior.
Dignity. Take away any dignity from you. I appreciate you being here.
No, respect, warrior. Respect.
And I want to invite you up. I want to invite you back, Brother Panic.
No,
you have other things coming up.
Yeah.
I'll come back because what you remind me of when you talk, I literally see a lab, concoctions, glass bottles, and heat, and I see lab while you talking. And that's what I really appreciate.
If everybody could do that, that's really our power. See how you could say, like, I can see things when you say things. If most of us see what we want to see. So they're trying to see if I say things that configure into what they already know. You get what I'm saying? They don't allow their mind to see things, whatever it is. Like he's saying he see a lab. Somebody else may see goddamn fish sticks, and that's the point. I'm not trying to get everybody to see, this goddamn Minnie Mouse cup. I'm
Mm.
saying, look, we have to deal with a cup. So whatever's in your cup or not in your cup, I'm letting you be a god and do it yourself. I'm not saying you have to conform to this because the community standards. That's morality. That's social behavior. That's not spirituality. Spirituality, you have to be able, it's your greatest asset is your imagination and connected with your creativity. So we already know where Uncle Hank's imagination lives at. So even when he's saying little things, to me, that's the most advanced shit being said. Yo, when you see, I can see this world, I can see that world, I can see cats and rats and automobiles, trains and planes. Good. That means it's inspiring something in your psyche that's showing you in play. You remember I said symbols, repetition, and trauma. He uses symbols clearly to see the hallucinogenics will help for you to. We should really speak on that real quick.
Cut loose, brother. I just want to put. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I got all your banner information. I think I included in the ticker. This is the upcoming February 18th, 2023. Brother Panic on Instagram, and it's also in the ticker. And y'all have an open invitation if you are mystics on the path, so that you're welcome to come and share, network, and be a part of the WhatsApp group.
Yes, sir.
And I just want to thank and everyone who's in the chat, brother. Let it rip, man. Let it rip.
I guess I can only speak from my perspective of it and what I've learned over the years. I was very adamant for a lot of the early 2000s. The shit is about you. Fuck, drugs are a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Blah, 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 blah. And but my lady, let's get down with this ayahuasca, nigga. And fuck that shit. You know what I'm saying? So now, then she's like, well, of course, there's a million people who's going to offer it to us around the country. And I'm like, we don't know them. You know what I'm saying? Niggas might hit me with some arsenic. You know what I'm saying? I said, there's a brother, Rising Sun. I said, when I run into him, I'm going to, he's the man. I said, in fact, rappers I know was fucking with him. Trash Gaddafi fucked with you. And I said, I know that brother when Trash was telling me the story. Now, did that lecture in New York and seen you. I knew, now we good. We about to get it. And it turned out my aunt was a friend from the 70s with your ass.
Yep.
That's why he became Uncle Hank real quick. Because him and my aunt Yo Kevit were pretty much road dogs.
Special shout out to Yo Kevit.
Special, she moved to Africa. Yes. She's in Ghana as we speak.
Wow.
So, nevertheless, even more trust, and he made us our first batch. Now, I hate to say it, I was drinking that shit like Kool-Aid. What, nigga? What? We did a whole retreat. Me, my lady, B.O.B., his lady, Aaron, who was a singer with us. We had trip sitters, Khadijah's sister, and another friend of ours, and another guy, Kenny, my assistant, came. One of them. So now we're up there. Boom! I'm just hit. Khadijah wanted to make it big. We laid in a fucking circle. I'm like, this is for the birds. But then I took a shot. You ready? Let it happen and saved your seed. I'm sitting there like, I fell asleep. So then I got up to me, give me some more of that shit, man. I'm hitting it. I just kept shooting them shits. Bow, bow. Kenny's just talking to me. Then I seen the trees open up as a heart. So now we in business. But again, this is the shit I was doing. So I said, hold up, Kenny. Shh. Now you must quiet yourself, my friend. And so I'm watching it. My mom's came through. Panic is Pan, the tree energy. So I knew it was that. I was trying to figure out. Me and B.O.B. just started hanging who he was, but it was obvious. He was a Pan energy too. He was seeing dragons. I see the white snake. Then we said, "Fuck that shit, man." So she told me some things and made some sense and it lined up. But then the next day we said, "Fuck it, let's take some shrooms." You see, your shrooms in here. I said, "Yeah, I brought them shits. Golden teachers." So we boiled all them shits up, took a shroom, and that shit got me. I took off all my clothes. We got a cabin and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I took off all my fucking clothes. I was in the bathroom going, oh shit. Now I caught myself. I said, my ego's fighting this. I'm trying to balance. I'm trying to maintain myself. Nothing's gonna happen. Just let it go, nigga. And before you go downstairs, put your drawers back on. There's a whole team down there. So now I go back down, and B.O.B. made a song called Levert at the time. I said, yo, let's call up Gerald Levert, nigga. So it was some bird shit he did with it. So we poured to Gerald, boom, he came through. He started showing me. Now, I've seen this before. Niggers have their own universe in the quantum world. It makes no sense. Richard Pryor has a world. Comedians have a collective world. There's a pan world. Gerald Levert came through years ago. His brother, his father, and him are the three stars in Sirius. Same energy. So he showed me his world. I was like, nigga, the walls don't line up. He was like, nigga, you ain't on Earth. He was like showing me, he pretty much said B.O.B. can, because of doing that, and I've noticed if you shout out just an inkling of the dead, they will give you a fucking universe in return. I had a boy KL, he was the money guy. He was in a group called Screwball, and he died. He died of asthma. He came through, he was not conscious. We had another friend from Queensbridge who died at age 23. I didn't know KL named the rap group Screwball after this dude, Lou, who died. His street name was Screwball. Lou was a young kid to me, so I didn't know that. So he pretty much honored Lou by naming the group after Lou. And I didn't notice, KL had called me on a Thursday, said, yeah, I'm doing the cigar company now, blah, 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 blah. He said, yeah. And then he started talking about Lou. I said, oh, I never contacted Lou. So let me contact Lou. Lou died, then Mobb Deep rose up in Queensbridge. There's a lot, when people die, the energy goes to some of the deities. For instance, when Joe Louis died, he went through Mike Tyson. As soon as Joe Louis died, Mike Tyson rose. And I could go through all of that shit. Prince, how Prince channeled Jimi Hendrix. Purple Rain was nothing but, what's his name? Purple Rain. But when I documented all of that back when it was happening. But see, I know I'm getting spiritual because I'll start forgetting. What was I just saying about?
Talking about the coming through the boxer spirit coming into Mike Tyson.
A little bit. Who was I just
and
saying?
You're talking about psychedelics and your experience when you was drinking it like Kool-Aid and the trees opened up.
No, you way back. I'm just you're talking about the aesthetic. there was a specific thing.
The energy, when one energy leaves, it kind of can transmute into another, or the energy is still there.
That's understanding, but I was saying a specific thing. All right, so let's just keep moving. So Gerald Levert, we did that. Whatever it was good. It'll come back though. So we did that, and so I've been able to get energy, pick up on energy, and do all of these things. But what I found on those shrooms was it was easier. But I also found if I didn't study what I studied, I would have just been a high ass nigga. I would have had a great experience. I would have seen things I haven't seen, walls move and oh, that's weird. Look what happens when you look in the mirror. But for years, I've been doing spiritual work. So my thing was, but it turned, instead of not using it, into, okay, you better have some work on your ass. And then when you use it, then you're able to go deeper, because you're really shutting down the entire ego for the moment, or you're just altering the ego to have an uninhibited moment. All your moments are technically uninhibited, but get funneled through your own logic, thinking, and rational mind. So your heart is always talking, or your spirit is always talking, but this is what gets in the way. So it's a act of trying to shut down this. Are you supposed to shut it down in Walmart? No, because somebody will rape your black ass. But who are you fronting for when you between yourself? Who is this person? When it's just them and they're in the mirror going, ooh la la hotep, and by themselves. I can see if they had a lecture doing peace and beloved and the baby. It's a performance. But if you're performing that in front of yourself, or you got yourself to believe that's who you are. Know who enlightened me to that shit? Fucking Slick Rick. He said these words. He said, every single Negro in hip hop is fronting. What the fuck do you mean, Slick Rick? Why? How dare you? Not our beloved hip hop. Oh, Slick Rick, what do you mean? And then he goes, because every single nigga do not talk that shit in front of their mama. Yo, ma, what's going? What's cooking, ma? What's popping for dinner, ma? You don't talk, hey, ma, what's for dinner? But you go outside, yeah, nigga, we about to do this. It's popping, it's cracking, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's the other thing. You do all that. So I said, yeah, actually, if you think about it, you are performing in the street. Because when you get around your family, you don't do that. And the niggas who go to church in hip hop don't do that in church. They do it in the appropriate setting, which means it is a performance. Therefore, when niggas just go, ooh, a Buddhagani, and all of this shit is fronting. There's times I call lecturers, yeah, what's up, nigga? This brother Panic. Oh, peace be unto you, beloved brother. Never. And I'm like, you just said what up, nigga? Know what I'm saying? And that's real shit. Know what I'm saying? I've tried to reach out to elder niggas. The mind is crazy. And I get it. Some of them, I just say they have the right to do it. They came, they taught their thing, and that's what it is. So I don't really trip off of that, because that's where the ego is necessarily supposed to be. Now, so damn, I wish I was on that path. But anyway, we took the mushrooms.
Yeah, you was in the bathroom, and you said you needed to put on your underwear.
Right. I came down. No, we talked about that. We was dealing with Levert. We started talking, but more importantly, I said, oh, mushrooms aren't that bad. We've been hitting T, he's putting me up on this shit. Then I said, I'm gonna come to your crib so we could do mushrooms. That's when that nigga got my black ass with some old ridiculous. We drank 2 of them cups of tea, ate like a handful of them shits. Nigga, I was sitting there. What the fuck is happening? Word is born. I was like, yo, your fucking cat is a fucking agent. How come every time I talk, he come over here? Every time you talk, he go over there. Word is born. The next day, he got rid of the cat. He said, fuck that. I think he was an agent. I was sitting there going, yo, nigga, are you Satan? This nigga said, yes. I was like, what the fuck? I literally thought my house wasn't there. I was like, yo, listen, if I get in the Uber and I have an address, then I know it's real. I got home and said, fuck mushrooms, fuck Hank, but Khadijah, we need to do this shit again. And then I kind of microdosed for a year. The trees talked to me that whole summer. I always was able to talk to fairies and trees. I teach it in my class. Easy as pie. Everywhere I would go, I would see soldiers, armies, everything. It's a pan energy. You know what I'm saying? So the mushrooms after that ayahuasca did that. And I may have taken it a couple of other times, mushrooms, but edible a day will keep the motherfucking niggas away. It'll keep me in the zone, spiritual, the imagination. I could tell you imaginative meditations and shit that's incredible. Here's one of the things you have to do to enhance some of the some trauma. You have to go back. If put me with everyone's face, it looks weird when I'm by myself. Looks like I'm just talking in the mirror.
Oh man.
But if I can see your face, it makes it flow easier, at least
Mhm.
today. Here's a meditation. You have to intently visualize. Here's where I would start. My grandfather's house, who was conscious. I would see myself at his, he lived in Queensbridge too, at the base of his building, detailed with all 5 senses, walking to his apartment on the 5th floor. So we would walk up the steps. I would look to the right, look to the left, the smell, the look, the aesthetic of the moment from the memory. As much as you can visualize in the detail is the key. See yourself with the tedious. You could imagine yourself on the 1st floor and the 5th floor in nanoseconds. Don't do that. Every tedious moment, pressing the elevator button, waiting for the elevator button, because your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. You're actually taking yourself there subliminally. Knock on any door you go into in the house. Once they let you in, that's the ancestor letting you in. Close the door, lock it behind you, and now in a vortex or in a connection with that ancestor. What I would do with his, I would walk through his house to the room, all with the eyes closed in the deep. I would see such detail. And when I lay in his bed, I just open my eyes. I'm in my room, but I still visualize his room around me. Memories, trauma, release, you name it. Have a conversation with him. You're in his house. If you can dedicate yourself to that form of thought and that type of thinking, that's why I said what Uncle Hank was doing is the most important. The ability to visualize, creativity. Meditation, my father was a transcendental meditation master. I would go as far as saying he taught me how to meditate when I was we was about 8 when he started, 8 or 9. And one of the things he taught us as a kid was to visualize an apple, something that we had at least 100 times at that point, even in our short lives. And then he would say, no postures. He wasn't big on postures because I couldn't do them. He would do them. And so you didn't really have to necessarily focus on posture. You need to focus on the moment more than the posture. And think of the apple and experience that apple in your mind with all 5 of your senses. Touch, the sound of crunching, the taste, of course, the look, the smell, and how it feels. And because it's something you've done a million times, and I even still suggest that for the new meditator. What you're really trying to do is your ever chattering ego that I told you is always trying to interrupt your spirit. Meditation is the act of trying to get your mind to a singularity. So most people are trying to think their way into a singularity. What you're trying to do is unthink your way there, and that's extremely hard to do. You can't stop thinking. Your ego won't shut up because it doesn't exist. It always has to do something for you to say, I'm alive. I am Panic. I am this guy. I am that guy. So what you need, so you're trying to eradicate it the best you can. So you have to try to get into singularities. Also, anything that distracts you. For instance, there's one of these things I tell in my class. You think that they want you to watch commercials. You understand? They don't. They want you to do something else during commercials. Because what you do is when you're watching commercials, you go, I'm not buying no fucking spick and span. But if you go to the bathroom or you go over here, you're not focusing or blocking it, and it's still talking to you. Westernality. In my second book, I got a whole page of what they call taglines. And I guarantee you know at least 85 to 90% of them. In their instructions, Snickers, it's so satisfying. Coke is it. Have it your way. These are not suggestions. These are commands. Because if they say it over through symbology and through colors, through the emotion and through repetition, they got you. And that's what they do. And that's how they do it. So, what the fuck was I talking about? Repetition and symbol. So meditation. So from there, you get more and more complex with your imagination, but you'll find you can grasp your ability to leave anytime you want. Be in a barbershop, I'll hear them. I can be dead sleep and have a conversation. A girl called me, I was dead sleep the other day. We had a meeting. I said, I'm going to sleep before that. I was like, Drunk sis, she's at the store. She's gonna get this for the party. She needs you to talk. I had a whole conversation with this motherfucker. Sleep. Get 4. Get is 8 in a pack. Get 8 or 4. Get 4. Blah, 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 blah. Be gone. There's people. I've been in barbershop dead sleep. Your panic is your time. I can't just get up. I have to bring myself back. I could go in that heavy meditation. That's just years and years of doing it. When I was 16, I was like, told my father, I was like, yeah, man, I've been meditating all these years. Ain't shit happening. That motherfucker almost dropped the cigarette. You was doing it? I was like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? He said, I said, yo, each time I close my eyes, the only thing I notice is it. And when you close your eyes, look towards the top of your head. What you're doing is shutting these eyes off to the world and activating this eye. And I said, all I see is like it just moves back and forth. He said, that's alpha state. He said, that's the goal. Now, what I found out later, your different brainwaves, alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and all of that. Alpha is just right under beta. Beta is your conscious mind. That's what you're walking around here with now. It's your logical mind. Alpha is your subconscious mind. We go into alpha all the time. Commercials, we go into alpha. That's what I started to say. They want you not to pay attention because you're in alpha state. We even think when they did TiVo, you ever notice TiVo, they still show you pictures during the commercial as you fast forward? They're hitting you with symbols. The commercial's not over. You're not going, you think you're going past it, but your subconscious mind sees every frame. And even when you're watching a movie, which is 24 frames a second, your subconscious mind sees every frame. I wrote that in my book as well. Because your subconscious mind picks up on any and everything. That's its goal. It doesn't judge it. It doesn't know lying. It tells you the truth. It tells you the truth all the time. That's why if you get into behavioral analysis, you get into you can see by body gestures what people are telling you constantly through their subconscious mind, which can't lie. So our subconscious mind is programmed for us. That's the cusp, the 100% control they have over us. It ain't the melanin vaccines. It ain't this. It ain't that. All that shit I'm sure is helping. But what they have over you is psychological warfare. And until we take our psyche back, it's not going to work. We're not going to take it back in our current state of thinking. If for no other reason, because it's not working. So I know I've made this place work for me as an individual, but I'm not cheap with it. And we're not talking about work in terms of happiness. We're talking about work in terms of functionality to do your spiritual work. Not happiness. There'll never be pie in the sky down here, and I do not look for it. I look for everything that can score, perhaps. So I'm aware of that. But I still made this as functional as possible in our current scenario by shifting the thought process. And I can tell you, with our current thought process, it does not work. I've been hearing it since 2004 when I started talking, and really years before that. It just doesn't work. Community, this idea of a community force, do y'all know that just came from Martin Luther King? We weren't that. We were communal people and cultural in later day Africa. But Kamites wasn't doing culture shit. The people did culture shit with their farms. The people who went to those places, which was considered university, walked through the door as individuals. They showed you even in Doctor Strange or in goddamn, what's the other? Game of Thrones. They knock on, the initiate knocks on the door, get the fuck out of here. Knocks on the door, get the fuck. They not with a community. They're with it. They come as an individual and have to prove themselves as an individual. This is self-initiation at this point. If we was in Africa, it'll be a communal or ceremonial initiation. We're not in Africa. And we don't think in a communal mindset of those who were brought up under the same thought process. That's not even conducive here. You can go to Walmart, there's fucking 400 different flavors of ice cream. And with that choice in your ego here, we can never be in sync on the level we think can save us. You get what I'm saying? Not in this current state of lack of work that we need to put in. We have to put in individual work to be able to even step up to any communal plate. And even then, it'll still be earth inspired. It could be better, no doubt. And I'm always looking and always down for something better. If you said, if you do this for 5 minutes with crypto and you'll get this, I'll do it. But my philosophy isn't that. My philosophy is ultimately the ultimate work. Everything else is survival. The ultimate work is an internal walk or your internal path that you must define individually. No, everyone is scared to take the reins because when they fail, or if they fail, and they're bound to fail in some of these things, or they don't feel they have the confidence to go in certain places, or they don't feel that it's happening for them in certain areas, that then they kind of fall into this whole societal community thing as a crutch. And you kind of, if you can see your way past that, you'll go further. So in that, a same crutch I noticed is because I've seen the popularity of hallucinogenic drugs come into the game. And I've also seen it become a crutch now. Let's not forget, they can free your mind, or they could just be drugs. And that would have to come with it. That's who's using it. There's a recreational drinker, and then there's a fucking drunk. There's a functioning alcoholic. There's different types of alcoholics. And if there's different types of alcoholics, functional drunk, bent over drunk, drunk that sells your kids, drunk that don't know where they wake up the next day. And then there's just a guy who parties every once in a while and has a fucking amaretto sour. But I would have to say, wouldn't that probably dictate your disposition or your mindset when you pick up a bottle of liquor? What are you drinking for? Recreation, to escape, to do what? So it's the individual. So just like that, if the individual is not conscious, what would make you think you could pick up a drug and become conscious? You can have a conscious experience, perhaps. Like I don't know if the documentary's still on Netflix, but Doug Strasberg is his name, I think. The DMT spirit molecule guy.
Ralph
Strauss.
Strasberg.
Straussman. He did a documentary. He did the DMT spirit molecule, and he pretty much was giving butchers, bakers, and candlestick makers DMT. And in the documentary, they said, well, what have you discovered? What did you set out to discover? He said, well, we understood that there was more that happened after death. We didn't know what it was. And I wanted to give out these mind-altering DMT drugs because we found out during the death experience, there's a flood of DMT that comes in the brain, and that's the after-death experience. So we wanted to see if we can control that. He said, well, how did it go? He said, after all these years, all I could say is I just gave people a lot of drugs. Did you find out anything? No. Did you find out this? No. I said, that's interesting. Now he turns to all the people. They start interviewing him and saying, all the people, and started saying, well, what have you learned? And everyone back to back, butchers, bakers, doctors, candlestick makers, was like, there's something else after this. I seen lights. I seen this. Everyone had a different experience, even though on ayahuasca, they say you have the same experience. But they said, I seen lights, I seen this, I seen this, I seen this, I seen these colors, I seen my parents, I seen this, I seen that. But all of them had a overwhelming sense of calm about death. I said, bingo. He missed the subtle point. If you were the shaman and these other people were farmers and plant growers, they weren't into what you're into. The shaman was the conscious person. The shaman was the studier. So the shaman would dispense these because if a regular human being is no longer scared of death, life is a fucking cinch. The Egyptians studied nothing but death because that is the greatest tool white people have against our black ass, the fear of death.
Facts.
We even saying it now. So sorry the ancestors left. Lucky fucking them. I'm like, why the fuck am I still here? I'm the only one left, it seems. I felt kind of jealous these niggas is making the these niggas is going back to their thrones for great work that they came here and did. That's happiness shit. The misery is down here trying to figure this bullshit out. So our fear of death, the Egyptians know, you study it and understand it. This is a cinch. And you had a bunch of people who now taking these drugs and at the very least had an experience where they didn't fear death or the unknown because they had a peek into that world. And that was the fucking point the shaman was. They wasn't giving it to the people just because, nigga, we all gonna be conscious. Here you go. That's the wrong idea because you would think that way in today's functioning way we think of community. That once we get something, everyone benefits because we all have this same mind automatically. That we know that's not the case practically. Everyone has individual different minds. So if everyone can find one type of consensus, then that's a glimpse of our community mindset that we originate from, which community just means quantum, all connected, no time, no separation, immediate connected. There's no space, distance, or time. It is one. If you want to see the concept, watch for free on Netflix Deep Space Nine in the Star Trek series, the one with the black captain. Cisco. Concentrate on Odo, and especially the last season or the last two seasons. Number one, the Jeb Hadar, which was niggas controlled by these founders from Universe B. And it turns out Odo, the shapeshifter, found himself most comfortable as a pile of goo. When he went back and finally found his home planet and got into the pool of goo, he said, I now know all things that my people know. And my people now know all things that I found out. That's called Akasha. That's our community. Akasha is our community. It ain't down here. We're trying to mimic something greater with dysfunction. And that's why it always turns out dysfunctional. So the founders tell Odo, we send pieces of ourselves all through the universe. Some make it back, some don't. But that's how we get knowledge from every corner of the universe. We came down, our mind is so vast, so divine, it takes all these niggas to have all these experience just to have one point on planet Earth. That's what that shit feel like. So we have to be butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, prostitutes, hoes, and doughboy, and what they call them? Not doughboys, whatever they call them, gay boys, doughboys, or whatever the fuck they call them. But you have to be all of those things so we don't never have to do this shit ever again. So we're defining socially what we call dysfunctional. That's from your human perspective. And it is. And you are having a human experience, so you don't want dysfunction. I ain't gonna oh, well, my granddaughter should have been looking. You're gonna protect it with your life. That's your human nature. I get all of those things, and it's not wrong. But we have to at least be able to know what category it's in and put it where it belongs in our psyche, in our conscious, in our work. It is most necessary to protect. Ain't nobody gonna smack the shit out you and you're gonna go, oh brother, I have no ego. Nobody's gonna kick your mother in the ass and you're gonna go, that's the laws of attraction, mom. You must have did something wrong. You're gonna fight like a beast if you see that. You get what I'm saying? So why fight that aspect of your human nature? That's not what you're here to supersede. Some people do that and find that as spiritual work. And that's why they have to go live in fucking mountains by themselves in priesthoods. You get what I'm saying? Or totally, like in India, they'll just totally leave society, live on the street and beg in the name of Shiva and get paid for doing it because they understand they're on a spiritual path. And some of them don't even wash because they considered washing off the bacteria as killing and kills bad karma. So how far niggas really want to go with this? You get what I'm saying?
Damn.
How far, and that's who niggas is still looking up to them niggas. They don't even wash yogis because the bacteria will create negative karma. Like I said, this shit could get kooky out here in these streets. You have to find your own, and then you have something to offer. When I went into my own study, closed the doors, stopped lecturing for a few years, stopped running my mouth and talking to people, and said, fuck that, had to be begged to come back. And it really over a few years. And because it's all about study. But then I realized I had a whole nother thing to offer. Not trying to offer it or trying to save Black people. It was just the experiences that I was going through. And I was like, oh, it's easy. You could do it too. That was my whole constitution. There's nothing I can do. I'm not from Saturn. I'm not better. I am from a regular ghetto, just like you. But you have to turn your attention towards yourself. And then ironically, you actually have something to offer a community. What does niggas have to offer a community? Fucking saying hotep and putting your fucking fist on your chest? What you have to offer a community? I can make Black babies. So can Christians. You follow what I'm saying? It's nice. And I love hanging out with the gods. When I go to lectures, barely want to leave because the energy is there. But I understand its place. It's not what consciousness is. It's an extension of consciousness. And of course, you want to be with like-minded humans to a certain extent. But ultimately, there's a bigger picture that we should be working on. That's a quantum consciousness. And that exists in your heart. That's never left. That's why you can see a mother of any caliber and find compassion because you have one. A daughter and find compassion because you have one. A son and see he's hurting and find compassion. And just when I start telling myself I'm elevating past the baby, my fucking son has a granddaughter and you're fucked up in square one. There are tricks here to keep your ass locked in this motherfucker. Locked in the mentality of humanity. That's your true slavery, bro. That's your true slavery. Not what you do here. The fact that you are a human being and your human consciousness, which is considered the most foul thing in the universe, human thought. Your egotistical mindset, your me, the 7 little fucking needs that you need to feel wanted, to feel like your words are being heard, to feel loved. All of those pitiful things which you are the manifestation of. You're just under the illusion that you're not. And that's the great trickery of this place that you're here to overcome, to find the truth in you. That's what you're here to find. The truth in you. Now, the hallucinogenics can help along that path, but if you're not a truth seeker, then don't be a lazy motherfucker, because drugs will not do it for you. Nothing will do it for you. The first thing I said, because I made a concoction of a herb pack early on. It's an institution, and it's been helping people with their meditation. I can go through a laundry list and used to of all the shit it did: pineal gland activation. People sleep better. People stop smoking cigarettes. People smoke more weed. People smoke less weed. One nigga told me he got up and walked out of a wheelchair. I'm like, nigga, that's a lot of pressure. So, I'm gonna say that as a, but I've always said from day one, it is not going to save you. It only becomes a tool if you're doing any kind of a work. Don't do it before work. Meditate. It's a for meditation is help you to stop with the chatter, is helping you to get into a zone because you're doing a work, which starts with meditation. The meditation is step one because that's when you start looking internally inside of yourself. You want to have your whole goal is to have aha moments. Mm, that's you finding light. That's you having that moment. That's all you should be fiending for that. The Beatles started meditating with this guru back in the 60s, whenever the fuck they were the Beatles. And Ringo, the stupid one, said, "Excuse me, sir. I keep waking up in the middle of the meditation because I keep hearing all these songs in my head each time I meditate." And the guru said, "You stupid motherfucker. That's the point. Go get a pen." Because you think we're supposed to meditate for this long period of time and be going, "Oh, it's not that." I've showed people how you could just meditate with earphones on. Put on music, close your eyes, and just zone. Is see yourself on the stage, either doing the song or at the concert on the stage with Rakim or whoever the fuck you like. Nicki Minaj or Wheezy, whoever you like, see yourself in that moment and with them performing as the song goes on. And what it does, just like the apple, it puts you in the moment because you're trying to get into the moment with meditation, not zone out. You're trying to get into the moment, and in that moment, what you're doing is taking that part of your mind that's usually covered in chatter, and which is your spirit talking, which is now regulated through atrophy in our comatose state as intuition and intuition alone. So you want that intuition to start speaking to you more. So you have to know how to tune out. And that starts with meditation. Then the second thing you start after you feel you have a grasp on some form of meditation is, and that's for you to decide, but do it with confidence. Because I see what shatters most people from that path is their lack of confidence. Their lack of confidence when they do it. Know that you're doing it. Say that you're doing it. Accept that you're doing it. Close your eyes. Think of a simple thing, an apple, then move to a banana, then move to a bite. Then think of your grandmother's house or a house that you go to often. Detail the bathroom, the smell, the taste, the dot, the dot. Do the meditation. Go to your grandfather's house. Go to your mother's house, your childhood houses, your grandmother's house. Talk to your grandmother when you go through that detail of walking through her door. Knock on the door. That's waking up the ancestors. Visualize as much as you can. Then the next thing you want to get into is astral traveling. Astral traveling is a form of meditating yourself to sleep where you become conscious or you naturally become lucid in the dream world. And then you retain more of what your subconscious mind talks to you in without inhibitions, because that's what a dream is. A dream is a series of symbols, and I told you your subconscious mind speaks, talk. Well, your subconscious mind receives symbols, trauma, and repetition as programming, and it speaks in the form of symbols. That's your ancient language. We used to talk with our pioneers and just flash symbols. Then it became click talk because what the click was doing was not a language, it was activating the pineals that were getting smaller. Mwah, mwah, mwah. So you were activating this to send images. And then when the images stopped, you started sending vowels, sounds,
Mhm.
A-I-O-U.
That's
And
right.
then those were the divine words. You had to hide the divine words. So it became contractions. Netar, ekar, sekar, katar, because you was hiding the fucking contractions. All of this was about pineal activity. You feel me? So that you can get that pineal big again, but you got to shoot light into it. So you start with meditation, astral traveling, and then what you'll start, and then at the same time, that chakra work that I talk about, which should be centered in the heart. And first, the compassion, healing, forgiveness starts with you. I got a crooked dick. I never made the high school. I never fucked the prom queen. You know, you accept those shortcomings that about yourself. I never was the greatest knockout champ. Yeah, that time Billy Johnson, he kicked my ass and took my lunch money. I accept that. I'm not perfect. You get what I'm saying? And I forgive myself for not being that. Because most of us punish ourselves for not being the thug enough, not being the whatever we think we are enough, not being whatever your parents want you to be enough. So you got to first have compassion that you're only a human being. If you're trying to transcend humanity, then of course the first person you need to forgive is your own humanity for its shortcomings and its and whatever you did not see, whatever offenses that you can't even apologize for, that you're embarrassed about, to let him go. And then once you find that compassion in yourself, then the healing, or first the forgiveness, then the healing for yourself, then move on to the next greatest, biggest programmer in the world of mind control to you, your mama, the one who before your ego was developed into saying, this is my problem and this is my joy. All you could do is cry out when you was in pain or discomfort. And that one person that was there to tell you how to do it, how to eat, whether she picked you up a lot, picked you up not enough, breastfed you a lot or breastfed you at all, gave you a little titty, not enough titty, hugged you enough, walked you in the park, did you have a dad? All of these things are developing a character that you can't see. And in your consciousness, that's the character that you're here to deal with. The hidden self, the hidden nature of what you are, that which is not visible to you. That's the dark side of magic that they talking about. Ain't no special spooky whatever. The symbols become Baphomet in the spooky shit because it's trying to talk to something more complex in the subconscious. And there was a time Collie was scary until we grew up on Freddy Krueger. You get what I'm saying? It's not scary anymore because we're used to more ridiculous things, Jeepers Creepers and shit like that. But there was a time Collie was menacing. It was a time the Goetia were menacing because they were they were different animals put together. Frog with deer legs. You was like, oh, that's frightening. Now that shit is just Chinese food. Follow what I'm saying? This is regular Chinese food. So the point I'm saying is that it's nothing to do with good or evil. It has everything to do with dark versus light, which is still not good or evil, just different polarities. So the dark or the negative polarity is pulling in. That's what's inside. Positive polarity, that's why I'm positive. I'm a light being. That's what's outside. So you act positive. Yes, beloved, I love you. I'm a light being. We're light guys. I love you. I love you. You're a black man, so I love you. Hotep. That's all outside. But internally, I hate that nigga. Why that nigga wearing that stink ass oil again? Here you go with them fucking kente cloth shoes. You saying all that shit now, mind you can front all you want. But that's how we think. That nigga breath be stinking. Here he come with that hug shit. And here he come with that sweat. We saying that internally. So in other words, there's a different reality inside than we project. That dualistic nature of Earth is what you're now confronting yourself with as a conscious person. That when you're saying this community thing, you cannot, because the nature of a community is to show light to each other. Not to deal with that which we don't want to deal with, but to try to deal with that shit of social behavior. Brother, I love you. Why? Because you're a black man. I love you, sister. Why? Because you're just the queen of it. Oh, god damn it. Like, I hate this bitch. This bitch ain't gonna be no ass, no nothing. I've been through it all. I've been through the phase of when niggas first got on Facebook conscious. And all these chicks hit me later. He had a fez on, and he still act like a nigga from the club. I was like, duh. Niggas put on fezzes, and they caught so much hotep pussy in the beginning. See, chicks ain't going for that shit now. But before, remember, they at the club, they getting fucked over by these idiots. Then they see a nigga got his shit tasseled to the side. Oh, sister, you are the sweet nectar of the Niles that falls off the cassava. It's within your breast have fed nations, sister. Oh, I'm gonna give this nigga some pussy, goddamn it. He ain't like the rest. And chick tell me he drunk in the corner with a gun in his hand in a fez. I'm like, hey, and that was the hustle then. Because it's easy to tell people who are looking for something whatever the fuck they want to hear. If your conscious work was designed to protect you, because I don't know what you're here to look for, and you don't have to tell me. You supposed to know what you're here to look for. There's general things I tell you, but there's things personal to me that will never be in the book and never discussed here. Khadijah could tell you all about it because that's who's supposed to. She's the feminine reflection of me, soulmate. She gets to tell me my strides of improving, hats go off. She's able to show me from my divine embodiment happening through her, the feminine soulmate. And that's the lesson. And those things are always personal and should be personal. Communal things are exactly that, communal thing. And there's nothing wrong. Let me be clear on that. If that's what you want and that's what you need, because I know some people got jerked with their family. You know what I'm saying? We had a jerky family. My sister's been looking for a community or family to fulfill that since we were 9 years old and went to foster homes, trying to fulfill that. And so there's nothing wrong, and she's not wrong for that. There's a genuine need for that. But again, when it becomes a crutch or people use that, then I speak on it. But if they still choose to, I'm not going to fight anybody or argue anybody. Knock yourself out. And again, one of the things I noticed as these drugs became more popular, I don't see them as tools. I see people using them as an escape as well. If you're using them as a tool, more power to you. You know what I'm saying? But if you're using them as an escape, it's really only you who can define that, not me judge it for you. I'm only saying what I've noticed because I've in a unique position to speak to people all around the country about these subjects. So this is what I noticed. But if that's a person personally doing it and that's what they want, then hey, you know what I'm saying? Good for you. But I want more. So when I started using them, I felt I was already at a level where it did mean something. So the spiritual message I was getting, it was fucking on point. Hey, on point. And anytime, even with weed, I could go in, take an edible. I could come up with anything, talk to anybody, and anybody could do it. I promise you, it's not that hard. It's our natural way of being. We're out of fucking our natural way of being. White people have nothing in their heart. They're cerebral, and they taught you how to be cerebral. Even Aleister Crowley in his book, one of his biggest lines is, let them die in the new aeon that's coming, which is here. Let them die with the dogs of reason, which he's saying, which is where you get the same, do as thou wilt is the whole of the law. Because he's having a channel with a deity called Awas. And he said, well, Awas is telling him, which is an aspect of Haru, according to Aleister Crowley in his book of the law. And he's pretty much asking him or questioning him, well, what's the new mindset, son? He said, do as thou wilt is the whole of the law, meaning you are now free from your thought pattern of communal. The exact word is responsibilities that have been given to you. You're not even choosing your communal responsibilities. You're in a gang. You're conforming to something that someone told you these are the rules. That is anti-conscious if I ever heard it. Consciousness was about freeing your mind. Shit, they even said it in the Matrix. So you tell me, I've seen this community firsthand. Who's free? They're doing whatever the standard is. They can't. When you heard a nigga in the community say, you know something? I love GMO. Right. See this fucking silence? It's sacrilegious because you're in a group, just like the Boy Scouts. If the Boy Scouts said, fuck that shit, I love girls, nigga, that's not the Boy Scout way. Crips say, I love Bloods, then you're not in the group. And there's things you say in this community that will kick you out the group. Come on. I took a vaccination. Say that. And I'll take it again. Say that. And see how communal people treat you. Right. Let's be real with it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to, maybe I am, but let's be real with it. I'm trying to approach it from a real perspective. Like, yo, I don't want to lie to myself. Consciousness is not about lying to yourself. I thought you were truth seekers. And the truth is, if I said, wow, there's a lot of rules here that makes me color in the lines. And if I don't do it, I'm not coloring in the lines. So I think this is more about coloring in the lines than it is about anything else. But that's what puts you in the group. Listen, if I'm in the fisherman's group, I better know how to fish. If I'm in the fisherman's group, what the fuck am I going to sit there and go, nah, I don't get on boats. I'm scared of the water. Niggas go, why are you in the group? You have to act a certain way. And then any group, there's a certain behavior that you're limited to. Otherwise, you're no longer in the group. So if you find a consciousness and say, shit, I got to take off my hat, niggas say, you can't take that hat off. That's a fez, son. You must keep it on. That's a kufi, son. You must keep it on. But now I'm finding consciousness to take it off. That means you're not in the group no more. Or that means your consciousness has went past the group, which is always bound to happen if you're studying.
Ashe, I want to thank you, Brother Panic, because I gotta pee.
Wow.
You done talked me into peeing, man. And listen, I'm straight from my heart, man. I want to have you back, man, because I have no idea what other books. How many books you done published so far, bro?
2, and I'm now writing a third one that I'm finding might turn into something. So it might it's easier to write now because they got fucking speech recognition and goddamn word. I ain't even got to type that shit no more. Now I can see the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain and wind.
Wow. So listen, I want you to come back because we got to deal with. I'm going to read this from front to back, and I want to come back and talk about the dark side of the Force.
Okay,
because,
we can.
Because nobody's dealing with the dark side of the Force in, you know what I mean.
My favorite chapter in the first book, I would ask you to spend some attention to, is the power of the 72. I can't remember I may have a copy somewhere.
Power of 72?
I'll put it on you right here. Hold on, I'm gonna tell you the name of the chapter. Something is 72, but I like that chapter the best. I break down the number 72 and show you where that shit shows up in all that Baphomet shit. 72 times 5, 360, 360 degrees of man.
I'm gonna find it.
Man times 5.
I'm gonna find it.
The 5 points of the star, Baphomet, blah blah blah. It was real channeled information. So hold on, let me find it. It's in here. I'll just look at the chapter.
I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, it's in there. It's clearly marked.
Yeah.
It's called Chapter 6, The Magic of the 72 on page 277.
All right, so I'm gonna mark it right now. 277.
Out of that, yeah. There's a few things. Snakes on the. There was I was showed in their trinities that they do in movies. So Sam Jackson did a movie, Freedom Town, Snakes on the Plane, and Black Snakes Moan back to back. All 3 of them were a trinity about Kundalini. It'll be in the book.
Okay. I want to thank you again for being on the platform. And this is I needed to read this because this deals with the stuff that's in your head that's not addressed consciously.
Right. Right. And that's perfectly said. That's really what you kind of want, to try to find the stuff that's not addressed. If we're just repeating stuff that's addressed, then what are we? We're churchgoers, bro. We're churchgoers. Just saying hallelujah, hearing a sermon, saying the same things over and over, reinforcing the same belief system. Consciousness was about finding the things that or the speakers who would step before you would give you things that were either in your head that you couldn't verbalize.
On
That
page 177, and I highlighted this.
uh-huh.
Y'all remember the guy? Which I'm yelling because I'm excited. I gotta calm down. RuPaul called him a big queen or something of that nature, and it came off as RuPaul disrespecting this American television white
Mel
icon,
something. Yeah. That
Milton
whole
Berle.
Milton Berle, he used to dress
After
up like
that
a
night,
woman.
the fad for RuPaul was no more.
Oh, but
We gotta read this for
the
mental
big update,
liberation.
that motherfucker took over with that drag shit now.
Yeah, yeah.
But but they always wanted that anyway. He was just that go-to nigga, be that guy. But they punished him for getting on Milton Berle, because Milton Berle used to dress up in dresses. And they did they presented an award together, and RuPaul was doing that nigger shit to him, and he looked goofy just standing there calling him a queen and all this shit, which is true. But it was to embarrass him, and you didn't see
There you
RuPaul
go.
for a while, but then the agenda's back.
And so, family, listen, get yourself some colored stickers, get some highlight pens, because this should be taught in all black colleges. I'm gonna say it on this should be taught in rites of passage for men and women. Highlight, go through the
I
chapters,
appreciate
because
that. It's a big compliment.
Shadow work.
this is shadow work.
Shadow
This is shadow work. So all those movies,
There you go.
even Disney World, you gotta. Oh, I mean, you gotta do a lobotomy of all the garbage that's been placed in our heads, and I'm gonna lobotomize myself page by page, looking at it, because our subconscious got all this garbage in it to make you a slave.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to thank you, Brother Panic. You got
Yeah.
an open door for part 2. We're gonna do part 2 until the whole screen goes black.
Okay.
For real.
Much respect, brother.
Brother, I want to say much respect to you again. I appreciate your patience. And like I said, a lot of people know me. I've been speaking so long.
I appreciate your scholarship, bro, and your insights, man.
It gets me somewhere else when that happens. So that's why
I peep your style. I peep your style. You flow on your own. You don't need no questions.
You be channeling.
I'm glad you're there, Barack.
And I gotta say this, family. We have in the midst of us, he's not only a published author, that means he's a scholar, a cult scholar, but he's a natural born griot. He can talk from now to sun up.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Until you're going to have to put absorbent pads underneath, because you might miss something and you're just going to pee on yourself.
Right.
I just want to tell you, he's a natural griot.
Oh, yeah, no, I can talk forever. That because I'll zone out. So you'll notice I'll say, like, what was I just talking about?
Right.
Because my logical mind is
really
not here. I promise you. It's
you in trance.
It's actually a subtle trance. That second book, I was able to go into subtle trance when I wrote it. That's awesome. You'll probably get a kick out of that.
I'm going to enjoy this. Also, to all the up and coming Jedis under the tutelage and guidance of our Sith Lord, if you want to call it that, you're welcome to join the WhatsApp chat. Brother Panic, you're welcome to join also. And
how do you get there? For you to share. Let me see if I can scan this and go there. If I could, let me join it in my phone for a while before I lay down.
I want to thank everybody all over the world that shared their chat information and all your support. We appreciate you. Just want to thank all of you for being on. And tomorrow we're going to have, you got it, Panic?
Yes, I got it. Yes, I got it, bro.
Okay, tomorrow we're going to have Sheikh Sufi on 8:00. Mystical Secrets of Allah.
Wow.
All right. But when I gotta go pee tomorrow, I'm gonna go pee.
All right, brothers.
Brother Panic, I want to thank you again.
Nice to meet you, Baraka. Thank you again.
Peace,
Yeah,
bro.
I want to
Peace,
thank
brother.
all the family from all over the globe because it's really beautiful seeing how far the word is literally spread. I mean, Brother
Right.
Panic, they were everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They came from everywhere,
Mhm.
Oh,
from
yeah.
everywhere,
They
and it was amazing.
always will.
Thank you. I'm looking for. I'm coming out of trance. I got to figure out my own screen here.
All right.
There it is.
Over
All
and
right,
out.
y'all. Night, night.
Peace.
Peace.
Say often, yes, I am. Supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. Take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%.